OBS. Are we going to start OBS? Are we good? All right, there we go. Looks like we're connected. I can double check though, just to make sure. So, what is up, y'all? It's your boy Aniki, and today we're skipping. It's not a League of Legends stream. We're going straight to My Hero Academia. We've got Seth, Coyote, and my boy Volk in the building. Anybody want to say what's up? So, just off rip, I want to say we're here to talk about the ending of this series. So, if you for some reason, saw the phrase, My Hero finale stream in the title, and you haven't watched it yet, you know where to go. But that out of the way, let's open it. I want to open with what we were just talking about, which is why I said, hold on, give me 5 seconds. The reception difference between the manga crew and the anime crew of like viewers, consumers, whatever you want to call us, fans, is very much like night and day. Obviously, the shipping community is still mad, but that's like you can't make Fujos happy, so whatever. Like, Fujos are never happy. Like, that's why they're Fujos. Like, they're just, we can't do anything about that. But regards to the other stuff, we can do something about that, Yeah.
that manages to be annoying about various things.
Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, it was everywhere. Because, I mean, for a long time, let's face it, I think anime fans have a tendency to like power fantasies. And, I mean, if you've not watched the end of MHA, I don't know why you're watching this stream, but basically the end of the series is kind of direct defiance of that. Because Deku finds happiness not by being the most powerful hero person who like ever lived forever. No, he gives up his power. And guess what? He's a lot happier for it. And not only that, but that allowed things to change where the world didn't have to rely on one for all might, any of that anymore. So I think it was that element I think that people have had, especially manga fans, because they were very eager about those updates, like trying to see Deku's next journey on mastering his power, and inevitably, because their ideas of what a hero are is quite frankly kind of Americanized, where it always has to be the big leading man in charge. He has to swoop in, he has to be strong, he has to get the girl in the end. And like, there's a lot to say about how the series addresses masculinity, and I think for Deku, he operates in a very specific in between that irks some people, and for that ending, it really touched on that quality of his character. And manga fans really did not receive that well, at least at first.
For sure.
At least the vocal kind that are on the internet.
And so,
yeah.
And here's the thing, I get it from the standpoint of a lot of series, characters finish powerfully. But you know what I've noticed?
What'd
so
you notice?
Has anybody here read Kakaishi? The story of Kakaishi?
Oh, actually, I did. Yes.
I've been meaning to read it.
Kakaishi is very interesting. It's certainly not typical. What do you think about it?
So specifically, Bulk, you may want to deafen if you really, really care about the ending of Kakaishi. But I like this. The point is that these kids have more responsibility than they should, right? So like Deku has more responsibility than he should because he's taking on one for all. He's dealing with the burden of all for one. And this is also why, like, also I'll lean towards Bleach. Ichigo was my favorite protagonist of the three in the big three because Ichigo is not somebody who's like, oh boy, I can't wait to go out there and fight crime. He's a dude that's like, damn, it sucks I can see ghosts. Let me go help them. Damn, to help ghosts, I got to get stronger. To help the people I care about so they don't get jumped by ghosts that eat other humans, I got to get stronger. Give me the barbells. Give me the dumbbells. I guess I got to get swole. But at the end of the day, Ichigo became a translator. And like, in Kakaishi, again, like I said, Volk may have to deafen if he cares about that. The characters, they don't lose all of their powers, but like the two main people you're following, the guy and the girl, like the point at the end is that they have time to do other stuff. Like they were kids who were working on this school ground that's like basically haunted, blah, blah, blah. And like that was going to be their lives for the next 20, 30, however many years. They finished the problem that their families had been dealing with, and now they get to go be people. And the girl wants to be a math teacher, and the dude basically is going to go become a pastry chef. That's kind of like what the ending's about. Like he liked cooking, he liked making these things. He thought about like and in that series, the two are blatantly together if you're media literate. They don't kiss, they don't even, I don't even think they actually hug in the last chapter. Instead, what happens is similar to what happened in MHA, and that he talks about making a house for the two of them to live in out of pastries. And she talks about teaching him how to do the math necessary to build a house out of food for her. They don't explicitly say, we are dating.
I wonder what that might be similar to.
Like,
I wonder.
So, like, when you've experienced the Kakaishi ending, it's not even kind of like up for debate whether, like, what happens with Deku no Chako is. And what's funny is that even before 431 came out, and I think I talked about this with Volk. And what's up, Nader? What's up, Ndot? What's up, Cameron Bailey? And nobody got me. Cameron Bailey got me. Fun fact: I streamed like 5 days of League in a row. Cameron Bailey showed up to every stream. I'm not even good. I'm not good at League.
Nice.
And
hello.
I had horrible luck. Like, if I wasn't having a bad game, I was having a bad team. Cameron sat with me through all of it. Appreciate you, bro.
W Mans, hell yeah.
Dude, that's really good, man. Thanks, man.
But yeah,
so hello everybody.
The good league isn't the bad.
What's up, Bonzu? So
yeah, what's good, Bonzu? How's it going, man?
It's been a while.
It's been a while, man. Oh yeah,
been
man.
A fat minute.
Oh, bro. I'm still watching from the side, from the sides, but yeah, working is killing me. I can say, literally, I'm working like in a few hours, and I can't sleep. That's why when I saw that you were, I needed to show up at least to show you love, guys, because
it's nice to see you.
It's the second end, man. Yes, for sure. Happy to see you all, man. Happy to see you all. I hope that everything is good in your life still, guys. And MHA on top.
Also,
a lot of people. Yeah.
So,
sorry?
First off, Bonzu, I appreciate you coming in, because like the thing is that obviously as everybody's gotten older, even when I talk to BG about it, BG, you guys, I don't know how many people have been watching for a long time. BG used to be in all the time, like on all the streams for like the first 2-3 years we were doing the podcast as a podcast.
Yes.
But even everybody's got like work to do. Like Sayaz was in like law school or some shit. Like everybody has a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, it's been a minute that I didn't see her anything over too.
So, which actually, let me message Sayaz. I just want to make sure she's doing good. But it's like,
hopefully.
But the thing that I like also wanted to talk about is like somebody mentioned MHA has a degree of realism in it, and I will repeat that. So this is the other thing about Deku and the realism that exists within MHA. Every now and then people. Small rant, guys. I got to go on the small rant because I almost made like a short about this. But when somebody tells you, like, for example, Dabi living was unrealistic, and you respond with, in a world where people can shoot fire out of their hands, he can't live, that's unrealistic. You sound stupid. You sound media illiterate.
At some point, it's like people don't understand. It's like the point is to tell a story. And you can't just fanfic everything you want to with random BS You
I mean,
literally can't. You destroy your stakes.
Like
that is the central issue, I think. So people like they're used to the shortcuts, right? Everything. Oh, you don't like that outcome in canon? You can just reject it.
And
right?
my thing is,
but like,
since chapter I think 163, I want to say it's 163. I might be wrong. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open up My Hero real quick on the Shonen Jump app. And because of how I have this set up, I should be able to show this page. The only part of it will be visible. So I should not get instantly copyright struck from the gods. But I believe it is 163 that My Hero, has Night Eye die. It's around that time period, like 163, maybe it's like a little later. But the whole point of that, when you really boil it down, is Horikoshi is straight up telling you, not everybody gets to live. Not everything is going to go the way people want it to. Not everybody, and I've said this so many times, the man put Eri 30 feet away from Night Eye and let him die. It didn't matter that he created a world in which these powers exist, because he also honored what's going on in the story. I've said it before. People stay in character to a fault. Like, the ideal scenario, right, is Shigaraki goes, "Oh, you know what, Deku's been trying to reach me. Maybe instead of having to get my soul blown to pieces with One for All, I start reconsidering," right? But then Shigaraki wouldn't have been staying in character. He would have been surrendering the convictions that made him Tomura in the first place.
Exactly.
So, do you like Shigaraki or not? Do you like the guy who decided to be the hero of the villains, even if it meant his death? Do you respect that or not? And I think that's like kind of a weird thing that exists within the story. Is like there's a certain level of realism to the decision making and the psyche behind these characters, even if they exist in an unrealistic scenario, so to speak.
Ah, for sure. That's why My Hero Academia was so good. That aspect of Deku being like unworthy of his powers, and he creates.
And I say all that to say, do you know what the realistic solution to Deku keeping One for All is? Because it's awful for him. It's eventually, and like I do mean eventually, he gets. Oh, and it was 161 where Night Eye dies. 161. So, but eventually, he's going to be like hunted down specifically so that somebody else can try to force him to give them One for All. That is Deku's future in a world where he keeps it. Like, straight up.
Yeah, in fact, that's what they were afraid of. In fact, we got to keep the power secret, because if everyone knows about it, that creates problems.
But not only this, he was also the most powerful hero of all time. So
yeah, he's still mortal. He's still going to die eventually. So like, obviously, you could also do Deku stopped aging because the crystallization of power and One for All allowed the cells to be supercharged, and now the telomeres don't decay. Or you could do some weird shit like that if you wanted to. But even that is still not a good fate. And if for those of you who have read Medulla, you know that I'm referencing what happens to Yuji. 1 second, I gotta get my daughter's TV show back on. You guys speak and say whatever you can.
Yes, so long as we're committed to making our main characters miserable.
All right, well, while we're
sounds like a worthy endeavor.
Yeah, while we're at downtime, we got 2 new people in here. Our goats, fucking Thomas and Squid.
Yeah.
That's a big boy.
How's everyone doing?
Hello.
Fucking Thomas, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. I just got back home from a shoot.
A shoot?
Hey. Crazy.
That's awesome.
Were you working with Nate the Hoof guy?
No. It's a Christmas short film that we're doing for a festival.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you, Thomas.
Thank you. It's been distracting me from the pain of losing my hero. So that's great.
Well, here you come to revel in the pain. Don't worry. It's okay if you shed some tears.
Yeah, this
I
is.
will.
I'm not gonna lie.
Very
Guys,
Yeah.
I'm coming back in a few minutes. Okay.
Yep, I got you.
Alright.
Yeah.
What's up, Squid? Also,
Oh, hey, I haven't talked to Anaki in a while now. How's everything been?
shoot, man, we're living life. Okay, so fun fact, and I can only say this because
Yeah.
my daughter is 2. Do you guys want to know what we got her for Christmas that she hasn't opened yet?
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
what was it?
A gaming chair.
No,
So
that's crazy.
let me
What
explain,
is
right? Let me
you?
explain.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
please explain.
So
Yeah.
my 2-year-old, in all her glory, will like one day,
Mm.
like I'm sitting in my chair, and she starts pushing against my legs, right? Just pushing, pushing, and I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So I get up, and then she climbs into my chair and goes like this, just happy as can be.
No.
That's awesome.
But she like will show up and be like, "Can I get in the chair? Can I get in the chair?" And
Mhm.
so since she always wants to be in the chair,
Aww.
I was like, screw it, we're gonna buy her own
Aww.
chair with its wheels. Because the other thing is like and you guys can't see this. Well, actually, I'm just gonna turn my camera on here real quick so you guys can see it. But this little stool here, my daughter likes to run around with it and basically will uh take it anywhere in the house. Like you'll be sitting there, um, and she'll just pop up like, "Hey," you're like, "Oh,
Oh,
what's this?" And she's got like a little stool that she's just trying to hop on you, and it's like, all
that's
right, well, that's not
that's so cute.
That's great to
so.
to hear. So I guess
Adorable.
what I've been doing is I don't know how many times I talked about this, but earlier in the year, you had some cuts to higher education,
Yep.
and that involved me. Yeah, that was pretty painful, especially because I was in a technical role, so I was pretty much like one of the guys who was cut off a little bit earlier, which was pretty nice. So I basically switched industries. I'm no longer
A
in
physicist?
uh, yeah, no, I'm no longer. I am.
No.
I'm actually now part of basically a like. Okay, so like those electoral models
Yeah.
that you see on like when it comes to like polling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I do predictive modeling now. So basically, I work on
Cool.
yeah. So basically, I work on basically models that tell you like uh, what congressional seats are up for grabs and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
basically, what the company I'm working for has me and a team doing is we're basically creating uh, just a model that other more, I guess, left of center campaigns can use to for like electoral uh, viability, stuff like that.
Awesome.
So yeah, basically just switched industries.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That sounds very stressful. Good luck.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some surprising amount of success with it at the organizing level. Um, Particularly in regards to New York, that was pretty helpful.
Mhm.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
Danny, my goat.
yeah. So that's what I've been doing in terms of I guess career, but it's not the first time I've had to I guess switch my. I mean, before I was in science, I was gonna be an athlete, so that was
Mm.
so I've done this I've done the career switch
No.
before, so I guess this is where I'm gonna be staying at least until a non uh like anti-science president comes back. I guess
Mhm,
this is
mhm,
what I'm
mhm,
gonna be doing. It's
Much
fine.
sympathy for you guys. Much sympathy for you
Yeah.
mhm.
guys.
It's a little rough out here. I'm not gonna lie.
I say the same across the pond.
It's honestly when you learn one thing that I've learned just talking to people just all across academia and business and all that, it's like the more you know
Right
about
here.
the Trump administration, the more you realize like, oh, everywhere is just messed up. Like there's like a specific way that if you are in an industry in America, or if you're like at an international scale, if you are in some type of industry, this administration is screwing you over in some other type of way. It's
I
honestly
mean,
impressive.
this year has been very, very bad with like
Mhm.
just regulation wise. Like
Yeah.
AI, like if you've been wondering why that's had like this ridiculous push, and they're like inviting people on the talk shows, they got them like on Time Magazine, like the future of AI, like the innovator is like
Can we
you
talk
know,
Yeah.
about
trying.
how insane it is that a grown ass man got on TV and said he couldn't imagine raising his child without ChatGPT?
I know.
A
That
grown,
was
a
that
grown,
was Sam Altman, right?
I don't know
A
his
Mhm.
grown
name.
ass
I'm
man
just
who,
disappointed.
Yeah, it was Altman. It was Altman.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't say I'm
So-
surprised.
a grown ass man who, from what I understand, actually molested his sister.
Oh,
Like,
Oh yeah, I heard
I-
that one. Yeah.
yeah, that was, jeez.
Okay.
all right. Let's switch to a happier topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's stay on topic.
Let's move back to
Well,
My
Yeah,
Hero
yeah.
real
I
quick.
actually want to ask. I wanted to ask.
Hey, but
since
that's
I-
what's been going on with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I've,
Yeah, we don't need that right
I
now.
don't feel about that episode.
But
I love
also, I got a real quick ask: who here has played Expedition 33?
it.
Me.
I haven't. I've been working all day on numbers and spreadsheets. That's pretty much my day
I've
from
been-
now
I've
on
been-
when I'm not on
I
Discord.
I still need to play the I still need to play the versus draft update. It looks really, really fun.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That shit is hard.
This Pete?
Oh,
Hell yeah.
like no, you gotta understand. I have a build now that when I play, like if I fight Simon, I can take Simon and do 84 million damage to him before he takes a turn. That same
Jesus
setup
Christ.
cannot finish any of these bosses, bro.
Oh my god.
Fun.
Like,
Here's the thing. Like, I'm going to play Expedition 33. It's just that basically my work is distributed over a cycle. So my cycle is gonna end in like
Yeah.
2 weeks. So once that is over, I promise I'm gonna play. Okay. I might even do some clips where you hear me go on my signature rants about just how painful everything is. You know.
But yeah. So when you get to that, understand this. You will have to redo your build and you will have to learn some parries. And
Ooh.
one of the bosses, I don't even know how I'm supposed to do damage to it. It opens
What?
invulnerable. I took like 6 turns just trying to figure out what happened, and then just started getting my ass whooped. 'Cause there's a new Clea
It was
fight
just
too.
straight BTA like that. That's crazy.
There's a new Clea fight in the Endless Tower. And she starts
That's crazy.
invulnerable, and I have no idea how you're supposed to break it. I
So
don't
it's
know.
just straight belt to ass. The whole.
Yes.
The whole.
The whole like
That's crazy.
Does Crick God Mael not do anything anymore?
Mael is a part of my one-shot Simon build. Because
Yeah, she's part of mine too.
Because my one-shot Simon build is I basically have Verso sit there and stack up to S, even though that doesn't matter. And then have Mael do a little bit of damage just in case, because roulette matters. Then I have CL try to get a mark off, make it Mael's turn, or make Mael do double damage, then make it Mael's turn while she's in a Virtuoso stance so that there's like a 5-6 times multiplier, and then go mage the marked target. That still works on one of the new bosses for their phase 1.
So wait, are like the devs just like routinely just like patching this to like make the game more difficult, or is this just like some like what's the exact deal here? Because it seems like you're describing like some changes to the builds.
So what they basically, it was like they put out a thank you update, realized a bunch of people managed to figure out how to one-shot Simon and stuff like that, and went, all right, what if I make it so you can't do that on these new bosses, but you can still get through? Man. So, yeah.
So wait, did they add new bosses or did they patch them?
They added new bosses. They didn't patch the
new bosses in a dungeon.
They added a new dungeon that has a boss in it, and then they added 4 fights in the Endless Tower, and those 4 fights. So in total, they added 5 new bosses. and all 5 of those bosses are stronger than the original Simon.
And Simon is like,
With one of the bosses being an upgraded Simon.
Bro, Simon. Okay, for context, Simon was like King Von crossed with Sukuna, crossed with Madra. He was evil, like as a
they had the
boss.
King Von edit in the background too. That's
Bro,
crazy.
like Cameron Bailey in the chat was there for me when I was like, you know what, these league games have sucked today. I'm gonna switch to E33. I went from being like, these league games suck, we're losing, to damn, I'm getting my ass whooped by Simon and everybody in this update. What is going on? But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, all that said, let's talk
Can
about.
I ask a question?
Yes.
So I arrived late, 20 minutes late, in fact.
Yes.
What have we talked about?
We got super off topic, so we can get right back to the thing we opened with was the difference between fandom and
We don't need
anime
topics.
reaction, which is anime fans have all enjoyed the ending of My Hero. It's like my daughter who was a My Hero stream. She hasn't been on my lap for any of the gaming streams, but she came back for this My Hero month. She must have missed you guys. Yes.
Aw.
Yeah.
Genie.
Hey, kid.
Dad. Oh, and she watches Bluey, so she says "Dad" like the characters from Bluey.
Oh, that's adorable. Yeah. Outside of the My Hero
What are you
episode,
talking
I'm
about?
not gonna lie. I haven't really been
And I'm not
watching
plugged in right now,
any
so I can't hear
TV.
anybody.
My bad.
I'll say, in regards to like anime versus manga comparison, I do think that there's some like small details in some of the animated scenes that do like elevate it a little more.
Oh, absolutely.
And I did watch. You know, I'll be honest and say that like my emotional response to like a lot of the stuff in the anime was higher, but I think that's more to do with the finality of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like I almost cried reading the Toga chapter on stream. I did cry when I watched the Toga episode, right?
Yes.
And so it's kind of like experiencing. I'm like, what's up? No.
I mean, for me personally, I love reading manga. There's something special about like reading a chapter and like thinking about like visualizing the characters moving or like speaking. But when you actually get it adapted, and you have the VAs, you have the music, the animation, like it adds so much more. So of course it's gonna elicit more of an emotional response. Like this episode, I don't think I've ever cried this profusely. Obviously it came down to the finality of it all, like you said, but I don't know, there was just something special about this episode. And I don't even think it's like objectively a 10 out of 10. It has some faults to it, but like Bones knew what they had to do, and they did it well. Like super well. Like this is the best episode of the series.
I think I'm gonna
even if
have
it is
the
like that.
minority opinion on this one. I think it was great, but I think at least just the way like I think I had a little bit stronger of a reaction to the manga. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit like my eyes are a little bit drained from staring at the screen all day, but maybe. But I think I just had a little bit stronger of a reaction to the manga.
Yeah, that's valid for sure.
Yeah.
Hey man, I wish I could be like any of y'all. Whenever I see a sad scene, I just laugh at the characters suffering. I don't know.
Hey, I used to be super apathetic. It's like, the one thing that I know for sure is that becoming a dad changed me fundamentally. Like, because I already, like, you know, anytime I've ever told a story about my childhood on stream, people have gotten very sad about it, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, the Naruto swing in the background, I know.
So, but that, and so that obviously changes how I interact with some of the stuff, like the idea of as a father, jingle all the way, yeah. As like with my own daughter, and then like you watch stuff like the Toga scene, and you're like, dude, what the fuck? Even like
I was laughing at that scene.
But like even
my God,
like
of course you are.
even in like contrast, right? Like you have to contrast how you believe people should be treated. Or you look at like Endeavor, and it's like there's a part of me that's like, yeah, dude, you just fucking suck and you fucked up.
You blow.
But the thing that Endeavor does that almost nobody who's ever had an abusive parent can say is that Endeavor genuinely tries and genuinely admits that he messed up. So like, I guess here, like that's, I guess that'll be the our first big topic, right? Like, let's go Endeavor.
Yeah.
He's controversial.
That one's very big.
His ending is considered, like, to some people they don't like it, but for me, as a person who's had like family try to perform as an adult in ways that they did not perform as a kid, I get it, but there's a certain sincerity that exists in fiction that doesn't exist in real life all the time. Like,
Yeah, of course.
so for example, if you like when Endeavor's kids berate him or they talk to him about what he's done to them, he always says, keep going. He never tells them, hey, yo, stop roasting me. He never tries to cry. He never tries to be a victim.
Yeah. Never makes excuses.
He always goes, I failed.
Yes.
He takes it.
He accepts his failure. You know, he doesn't.
I think
he doesn't get into a defensive posture about it.
When my mom was dating this dude named Pootie, who she eventually married, and then they got divorced while he was in jail. But when she got with Pootie, I had met him. We talked a couple times because he was spending time around my siblings. Obviously, I need to know him and make sure he's not gonna do some weird shit or be on the same shit my mom is on, right? If anybody who's gonna date my mom needs to be a better person than her, or any of my siblings were just fucking doomed. If like we were talking, like telling stories about our childhood, I shit you not, my mom started crying, and it's like like we're telling a story about how, oh, you know, when I was 4 years old, my head learned to memorize the feel of canvas on it because you were stomping on me, and you're crying like you're the victim, huh? Oh, you go in my bank account and you spend money and then you don't even buy me food when you go and buy food. Like, that was like a crazy thing that used to happen to me like junior year, senior year of high school. I would come home and like there would be like McDonald's, Burger King, whatever bought. And then I would go to the bank sometime later and my bank account would be down like $50 because my mom just yeeted $50 out of it, bought food, and didn't even buy me anything. Right? So when what are you doing? So when you're doing all that, or like, oh, here's another good Endeavor comparison. When my mom found out my daughter was going to be born, my youngest sibling was talking about potentially transitioning. And my mom said she could use my daughter to replace my youngest sibling.
What?
Yeah. Needless to say, my mom has never met. Yes, my mom has never met my daughter because of this kind of stuff, by the way.
Oh,
so,
good.
So it's like this level that like people, like who people think Endeavor is, like as a person who actually has like a shitty narcissistic mom. I'm like, you guys are way too hard on this character. Bro is missing an arm. He lost his career. Like, yeah, he's got savings and he's got money, but like to me, his ending is pretty fucking miserable. Like, it honors the positive contributions, because the other thing is like, I feel like people have to look at life on a karmic scale and then understand that sometimes people are shitty to you and do great things somewhere else. And that's the thing that when we analyze Endeavor as a character, or when a lot of people analyze Endeavor as a character, is missing. Yeah. Because, and I've said it multiple times, people are like, why wasn't Endeavor in jail as soon as PLW happened? Yes. Currently, the country is overrun with hundreds and thousands of released criminals. We need to whoop their asses and get them to stop killing people. But before we do that, let's put our best ass whooper in prison. Okay, Deku was the best ass whooper, but like you get what I'm saying, right? Like there's a level of a lack of there's like
LeBron,
like there's a lack of pragmatism and like rationale and like engaging with the world itself, right?
I mean,
it's like that realism comment, right? You engage with the world and then recognize that if Endeavor is the second only to Deku right now, they can't afford to bench him. Literally cannot afford
Yeah.
to bench him. If they bench him, they
I
die.
think
They got him on a super match.
Like,
me personally, I think for Endeavor, sometimes, like I said in the chat, sometimes I appreciate about Endeavor. Not only does he acknowledge his
People
faults,
be trying to treat
I think
Endeavor like
Horikoshi
he
also
Draymond
does,
Green.
and also allows the audience to dislike him or like him. And that's something I don't like about Endeavor stands as well.
mhm.
And it's the same with Bakugo stands as like also where they try to defend these characters,
Every
even though if these
single
characters are real,
choice.
they would disagree and push them out of the way because no, I did horrific things. I am trying to atone. I'm trying my best to make up for my mistakes. If you're going to keep justifying what I've done,
You
then we're
missed the
not going
point.
anywhere.
You
And
missed the point.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Hey,
like
And that's why I
no,
appreciate
and this is
Horikoshi.
and yeah, and it's what makes these characters' arcs so strong, especially, Bakugo people understand easier, but even with Endeavor, it's like given the fact that you have done horrible things, right? Given the fact that obviously there are things that you might not ever be able to make up for, what is the path forward then? And Endeavor's role and what makes Endeavor compelling, aside from the fact that he's capable of feeling guilt, right? Like some people just can't. But just the depth of guilt that Endeavor feels is, for me, what makes him any kind of compelling.
Very compelling.
But
Yeah.
the other thing is that it's like, what is the heroic path forward for someone like that? And it is to continue atoning for what you've done for the rest of your life. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's difficult to do. People run from that all the time, and it's not easy, but it's absolutely correctly the heroic thing to do. And I like that MHA posits that. It's like, okay, everyone can in fact do their best and be a hero, even if you're never appreciated for it. It is what Endeavor is doing is the right thing, ultimately, and it's coming from the right place too. So, I mean, obviously, you don't have to like him just because he's doing the right thing because of what he did. It's so terrible, but because just because you don't like it doesn't mean that isn't correct thing for him to do, right? Or just because you don't like Endeavor, that doesn't mean it's not the correct thing for him to do.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's handled quite well.
I think the thing with the series is people don't see it like, okay, I spoke about this last stream. They don't really see it as a story. They see it as, either when talking about the social issues, which overlaps with like what Endeavor was doing, because like, the fact that he was so powerful and he was allowed to do that to his family, that is another manifestation of society's problems. But more fundamentally, fans, and it's not just with MHA, but it really is prominent with MHA. They don't treat it as a story. Ultimately, they just see it like as either a political manifesto or needing to hit certain milestones, certain like check boxes for them that's going to make them feel comfortable with the subject matter. But like, I mean, that's not a good story if like it's always just kind to cater and soften the blow. I mean, you do have to consider the actual sensitivities of the subject, yes, but if you are just looking to lessen the importance of what is being talked about, then you're not letting it operate as a story ultimately. And also, and this crosses over again with people's complaints about, oh, society didn't change in the end, but it's like you're refusing to see how it changed, but two, you're also, despite the series' realism, it is also its own individual universe. You're trying to project our issues that we have in 2025, like modern Earth 2025, into a superhuman society that has been shown to have basically have started over with humanity, and like these are its own set of problems, and it's showing you like a kind of playground, not playground, but a curated setting where it shows you what can happen if everybody is a hero, and that's like the actual beauty and function of a fictional story that captivated so many people. And
Mhm.
I don't think people are comfortable with letting it be that, because they don't seem to really accept that or understand that,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Mhm. It makes complete sense. I think people's attachment to a series, for a lot of people, maybe this is nihilistic of me to say, but when they love a series so much and it shows elements that they don't agree with, they shy away and ignore it, and like demand it's not exactly, it's not why it is. Um, and it's
It's
a
And
more
this
shame.
is
of a I think it's more of a projection type of thing where they think, oh, if I like this story, but I disagree with like this one aspect of it, it's almost like it
It's not
reflects
real.
back onto them and like their
Hmm.
overall love of the series, and they don't want to confront, I guess, what that disagreement realistically
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
So they would rather deal with it in a incomplete and immature way.
and
Not
that's
saying that
so
for
that's
everyone, but it's definitely something that I see, especially among, I guess, like younger members of the fan base, which is to be expected. I don't have any animosity for it.
it's
Hmm.
it's ironic, because like this is all for one's main problem throughout the series. Like, he just can't accept certain things.
Hmm.
And so once he gets to the end and he realizes how wrong he is, it's like, well, shit, I got nothing else to do, so I might as well just commit to the bit,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah. I do want to ask, um,
Yeah.
on the like on the topic of the this episode, right?
Mhm.
Uh, how does everyone feel about Armored Deku?
Um, are you asking like how we feel about like the
The
suit, or
suit,
like the suit as in like the powers and stuff, or as in like how we
I
feel about
guess
him being
overall.
quirkless?
I mean, I imagine we all had the conversation about him being quirkless a lot.
I think
But
the
now that we
suit
have
is a
the
good
adaptation of the
compromise.
suit,
That's how I
yes,
look
I
at it.
agree.
The suit is the compromise. So, because and I wanna really highlight this, because I think that it's hilarious that we got fry cook memes, all this other shit,
Yeah.
strictly off the fact that
But then he
Deku
pulled up in
lost
a
his
Phantom,
quirk.
though.
Which, yes, also the so one, the idea that Deku was gonna be broke, hilarious, hilarious,
Bullshit.
literally hilarious. Not because again, right? We're talking about realism, right? There are people. Okay, I'm gonna pick one. Boom, Salt Bay. Right.
Oh,
Nigga went viral.
oh.
Was already a decently successful chef, and it took years for his career to blow up. And you know what blew his career up? Not just being a meme that was not fucking restaurants with $3,000 gold leaf tomahawks that weren't worth the price according to a lot of the people who went. None of that stuff is what did it. What blew his career up was going to the World Cup, sneaking onto the field and like taking pictures, like holding up like the cup and doing all this other stuff, like touching the World Cup. And people were like, "Yo, what? Who would that? Who is he? Why is he shaking Ronaldo's hand while holding the World Cup? Who is this?" Like, and I say that to say, Deku, the nigga who saved the world and changed the weather with a punch around the planet, is never going broke. The level of offense he would have to do, like, even if he didn't become a teacher, Deku could literally just like have put out like a couple books, like wrote a book about it, then like milk that shit dry. He could have done a movie and then had like them use digital so he could look younger. Like, he could have done
Mhm.
so. Like, come on, bro. Like
Could have
it.
had a movie
No, wait,
produced
wait, wait,
by
wait, wait. He
Paramount.
also number one, right? He is the one of the teachers in the most prestigious school in Japan, right? He also has deals, like he has a suit deal. We see that clearly in one of the billboards in 421. So he's getting paid. He's treated like a local legend. Like, you think he isn't rich? Like, come
So,
on. Like, look
Anaki,
at
I'd like
all
to
that.
use an example out of
And
Japan
Aizawa.
that I'd like to mention.
Mhm.
So, one of the most like important sports in terms of martial arts in Japan is judo. there's an extensive talent pool for judo in Japan. If you can even medal in the Olympics or in Worlds or a World Championship, right? The government will literally take care of you for like years, like decades. You are like honored. Now that's for just medaling at the Olympics or Worlds. What happens when you actually save a country from like destruction and change the weather and do all of this crazy stuff? What
I
do you
mean,
think
save
that
the
person
world.
can? Yeah,
Not just
like
save Japan. He saved the world. Straight up.
he saved the world. It's not just Japan. It's like certain countries, like there's like an understanding of like if you do something great, you're
Yeah.
taken care of.
Yeah.
Japan is one of those places. Deku will never have to worry about literally anything.
Mhm.
He could start a Patreon and he could be a millionaire. Like, what are we
I
doing? We could
I
get
think my biggest issue here, right, isn't just the amount of people
Deku
who are part of
OnlyFans.
the right?
he
Deku
could
I
get
think my
bathwater.
issue.
he could get a movie by Paramount, funded by David Ellison himself. Okay, like come on.
I think my issue here, right, is
That
not only are people like disrespecting Deku,
You could get the
but
Rush
it's
Hour
the
4
fact.
treatment.
It's the raw fact that a lot of these people are disrespecting teachers, right? They don't understand how important teachers are to society, not just Japan, but to the world, right? And it's clear none of these people, whether they recognize it or not, realize that a good teacher can change the direction of your life. And a lot of people who are like where they are today are like owe a lot to their teachers. And it's not even just using from real world. Look at the main series. The most hype heroes people constantly dick ride are teachers. Aizawa,
Yeah.
like All Might, like Deku's joining them. Like that's prestigious.
Yeah.
And it also is a vast misunderstanding of who Deku is. Like, do you think Deku thinks being a teacher is a bum? No, he thinks this is the coolest shit in the world. After like Aizawa's conversation with Miwa, Fuata, I think that's her full name. So come on, let's just relax. Teachers aren't bums, and I think the
Yeah.
They
idea
think
like
they think
equated,
they got all teachers on an adjunct salary.
yeah, yeah, but like it's also looking at like how they're also treating fast food workers, where oh Deku's a bum, he's a wage worker, he's a wagey, he works at McDonald's. Like most of you go to McDonald's. Most of you do. I know you do.
I'll get
Put
the eggs with
respect
the
on
hash
McDonald's
brown on
workers.
it. I see you. I see you at 8
Yeah,
8 a.m.
put
Come on now.
respect on them.
Don't play with me.
Quit it, bro. You're making me sweat. What the fuck?
Just
You're
put
you're
respect on these people.
directly looking at me. What the hell?
You know what? Hey, listen. But
Yeah, you're right.
honestly,
Sorry. Yes, but yeah, you're right.
Those
In general, as
those
a
workers
role,
didn't put those fries in the bag, you would not. You would eat 2
Mhm.
meals a day, okay?
Yep.
Because you would not have no breakfast. You would be
So what's the
fasting.
coyote?
It'd be lunch, dinner, lunch, dinner, lunch, dinner.
Mm-hmm. But what's the coyote?
yeah. So as a role in general, I never really understood the problem with being a teacher in anime, especially because we all know in every anime you watch, there's always going to be the general teacher role to the main character.
Yeah.
And no one really ever has an issue with the teacher role because everyone adores the teacher because they're meant to pass on knowledge and help others grow.
Well, that's the
So
thing.
when we look at Deku, it's like Deku was an analysis person. He always looks at every quirk and analyzes everything and sees the potential in everything. That just generally seems like Deku's natural calling
Yeah.
if he were to be quirkless.
Agreed, wholeheartedly.
So it just never made any sense to me that we're upset with Deku taking the teacher role. Which
Mhm.
even if he didn't make the most amount of wage, who cares? Like literally, if he gets to help raise the next number one hero, that's still a W.
Mm-hmm. He gets to pass on what he's learned. And, like he's so like grateful for what he's learned, and like that's a joy. That's one for all. Like being a teacher is one for all.
Not to mention,
you know what
are we gonna act
Bakugo's
like UA doesn't have a pension fund? Like that, like he ain't good after 20 years. Come on now. He's
you know what
financially secure.
Bakugo's new goal? You know what Bakugo's new goal at the end of the series is? It's to find somebody that is determined to surpass him. Like it's not about like it's not even really about being number one hero anymore. I mean, like he's still chasing that for sure, but really his main goal is I want somebody who I know is going to be better than me. So like that's him learning his lesson. They're all doing that. You know, Chuck with the quirk counseling, Ida with like guiding lost kids at his agency, and now his brother's back in action helping him. And so like all of them in all of their roles now that after everything that their teachers and their mentors did for them, once you get to the end of the series, it is about like it's about passing on what had been done for them. And to go back to Endeavor, because this is where we started, his grievances, like the fact that he is so hard on himself, is because he specifically failed to do that by instead foisting his dream, his desires, and his own ego onto his family.
Yep.
And so he intrinsically just capped their own potential because he made it about himself instead of just nurturing them and passing it on. So yeah, that's why things end up how they do. And yeah, just want to point that out.
Yeah.
Also,
Good
like
points.
with teachers, the whole teacher thing, was likely most of the U.S. fandom, I would say, or like North American fandom,
U.S., Latin America, yeah,
because, and obviously part of it is just teenagers, right? Like the famous quote, the fact that I'm at any moment I could be subject to witnessing a 15-year-old's opinion on the internet is one of the problems. Like that's real, because
yeah.
and I will say this outright, and I feel like nobody here would be like, "Oh, that's not a surprise, really." Like if it weren't for the fact that I need to spend a bunch of money to go back to college and do all that stuff, I would have zero qualms being a teacher if it paid just a bit more. Because teaching, like when I'm at work and there's a new hire, I'm like that guy that's like, "Yes, I will train them and teach them everything I know. May they be imparted with all the secrets." Like, yeah, teaching is awesome. If you don't think teaching is awesome, you've never helped somebody figure something out. Watch that light bulb go off in their head and just seeing the pivot in how they do things. It is one of the best feelings in the world.
One of my first jobs when I was in university, like around sophomore year, was I was teaching. I was tutoring classical mechanics for freshman students.
And like when I was a junior in high school, there was in religion class, I ended up tutoring students that were like 4.0 students. I don't know why they needed me to tutor them, but I was still fine with it because I just like to do that stuff. So like the whole teacher not being, again, people don't understand that like whooping ass, like to a certain degree, the story tells you straight up there's more to being a hero than trying to whoop people's asses, and it's also kind of telling you there's more to life for these heroes than whooping people's asses. So both on their side, they need to like view more, and on the like on the hero side, they need to see more, experience more. That's also why like Hawks becoming the HSPC is not anything wrong with there's nothing wrong with him becoming the Hero Safety Commission president, because his goal in the first like 3 to 4 chapters we meet him is to create a society in which the heroes have too much time on their hands. So Hawks becomes president of the Hero Safety Commission, and then we see like when Dai is in class talking to his students, he's like, "Man, they don't even let everybody be heroes no more, bro. I don't know about all that. I won't even know if we got people for you to fight." Like,
that's a good point. I want to bring that up after this conversation,
because they have too much time on their hands now, guys. Like, Hawks is succeeding in his dream by doing this, and also he gets to make sure that the Hero Safety Commission never grabs a small child off the streets and goes, "It's time to kill niggas." Like, hey.
Yeah, this is where I like what Volk said a while back about how, in terms of how people have interpreted the story and such not. people don't understand that, yes, like Volk said, the story is crafted by an author. It's a world that is as ideal or not ideal as an author makes it. One thing that I like about My Hero is that Horikoshi is very humble, and for all the people complaining about how Horikoshi didn't like literally spell out every single whatever program or initiative that Hawks signed into that Hawks pushed through, it's like
I wanted to see the tax distribution.
30-minute list of all the changes to society, Seth. 30-minute list.
As
we're going to sit
right,
down.
You
need to go through a 30-minute list. We have to make absolutely sure of all the fundamental systematic changes.
So
every last one.
And I'm sitting here thinking several things. One, a lot of what was missing from Hero Society was like you can have all the changes you want systemically if you're working with people who are bad fathers, if you're working with people who are bad teachers, if you're working like All for One. We have to remember, like back in the sensei discussion, All for One is a sensei. He's Shigaraki's sensei specifically. So building up the trust, you have bad teachers, you have bad fathers, or you just when you're working with bad people, you're not going to have a good society. It doesn't really matter, and you saw that with how people ignored Tenko because they were over reliant on those supposed systemic changes. It's like, okay, look, if you need to have individuals on the ground who do things.
And
who fill in the gap.
What I like about this, because it makes me think of the old lady again, and this chapter,
that was such a good scene.
And like the scene makes me feel like seeing it play out in real time makes me feel a little worse for her, because it's like on one hand she has no way of knowing that was Tomura Shigaraki, right? But
she has no way.
Seeing that child and thinking to herself, you know, but this is actually more powerful because of that. Wondering to herself, did that child ever get the help?
Yeah.
Because that means that
15
she doesn't
years
know.
Ago, she doesn't know.
15 years ago, she ran to work, whatever, because she was running late, was scared, saw a kid covered in blood, da da da. But like, she never forgot him. And I wonder, like, even when you think about that, like Shigaraki probably, if he had known that old lady never forgot him, that probably also messes with his perspective on things a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
well, it's really nice in that regard, just how Horikoshi wrote it, that all these people, they are able to make the right decisions without necessarily being burdened by what we know is their burden. Like there's like a narrative level where it's like, okay, you're burdened with this, you're burdened in that, but you don't know it. But they still come about to making the right choices anyway, independent of that. So we know that she let Shigaraki go when she shouldn't have, but now she feeling that weight, even though she doesn't know what became of that child, seeing that come up again, it was a really nice redemptive moment for her.
I wonder, has she ever? This is more so me thinking, like maybe I'm fanficking it, right? But I wonder if she ever like went out into the streets looking for Tenko, ever since that day, or at least asked around.
Well, she mentioned that she is still woken up at night by dreams of that moment.
I love it. I also love that, like, if it was any other writer, I'd imagine in that moment where she goes, like, I wonder if that kid got to safety. Any other writer would have been like, oh, I figured out after watching the fight with Deku that this was Shigaraki. Like, that it's just it's special that, like, there's no connection for her. Like, this is just a kid who needs help and she can redeem herself with, like, extending a hand. And I love it.
Yeah,
I just think it's perfect. And mature as well. It's mature writing.
And it's
it
more...
is, and it goes back to what I think we were talking. I myself sidetracked myself. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to say that it's like it's important. Like there are stories that I don't take as seriously because the author takes their opinions too seriously. They're like, I handcrafted this world based off of how I perceive the world, and how I perceive the world is 100% correct. So therefore, if I do this, 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 and this, our world will be perfect, and I wrote it out for you in my fantasy. I hate that writing very much. It's shit, and
so
is this a Quentin Tarantino diss?
I don't know if you guys.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know if you guys have heard me say this before.
Tarantino, is that Spider? Is that Spider?
But
I've never heard of it.
I've always said
I'm a neophyte.
I've
I
always
don't know
said
all these names. Sorry.
that fuck, the neophyte comment that threw me off.
Sorry. I don't even know if I use that word correctly. So
I was like, wait, what?
because I'm not into the comic book or movie scene at all.
There we go. Yeah. So, I like no AOT. That does not work as an AOT disc because the whole point of like with AOT's ending is that it's not that this is the best course of action. It's that I am Aaron. I have a limited set of options available to me, and I do not trust the people who have already decided they want to kill us to change their minds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not.
I
You
mean,
did this
like
for us.
again, like a
But-
setting is made to prove a specific point.
Yeah.
Right?
But in the case of like what we were talking about, one of my favorite things that has ever happened in Shonen Jump in the past like 5 to 10 years, it was a Black Clover scene, and specifically, it sounds crazy, right? But hear me out, because
I think I know what you're talking about already.
I might have mentioned this to you, but like Asta is a musclehead.
Yes.
He has no political training. He has no like he knows like fine. He has limited
I know what
formal
this is. I know what this
education.
is.
And then like there's a part during the Elf arc where he's just
There we
like,
go.
"Yo, dog, I am not smart enough to solve the socio-political, socio-economic issues in front of us. I am strong enough to go whoop some niggas' asses and let smart people figure this out."
Yeah, that was to Mario Leona, right?
And yeah, and it's like,
Yeah,
yes, that he is 15 right
I love
here.
that scene.
He cannot solve the world's problems. He's a 15-year-old. Why would we let him solve the world's problems? That's stupid. And so, and I always say this because people don't pay attention to Principal Nezu, but Nezu talks about when Uraraka's up there and she's like, "What about the heroes?" Blah blah blah. Nezu says, "Are we finally taking the first step? First step to progress?" Because up until Deku whoops these niggas' asses and does all this other shit, and One for All's mission is completed, what I think a lot of people don't realize is that the world's goal was not to make the first step of progress. It was to undo the regression that had occurred since the advent of the quirks.
Yes.
We've been playing catch up, get back to square one, the entirety of the series. Like the entire preceding.
And that's exactly what happens. No. Oh, I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Because I just turned to look at my daughter doing stuff.
So. Oh, well, that's exactly what happens when you first brought up the scene in the classroom where the students start talking about normal professions. It's not that heroism was torn down, it's that other positions were lifted up. Yes. And people were allowed to dream, well, normally. We didn't, it's like, it's when you talk with Uraraka, how she, quote unquote, tore down, so to speak, the idealism towards heroes, or rather, she made heroes into people. Or at least narratively, that's what happened. Obviously, Hawks had to do work in terms of society because that was a moment that was only at UA, right? Hawks saw that, and Hawks carries that with him. There's a reason he remembers Uraraka's speech because of how she humanized heroes, and that humanization spreads throughout society, and it ends up elevating other people while also, I guess, it pushes down heroes, but not. But it's.
So I don't want to say it pushes down heroes. Here's why I don't want to say it pushes down heroes, because it reminds me of when, like, when people are like, "Oh," and this will sound. This is like a very heavy example, but it's like when people have to go, "No, the civil rights movement isn't pushing down, other races. It's about not denying people who have less or are seen as less valuable that same status." So
it lets people come up. It lets people come up.
Right. Like doctors should probably be seen as heroes, realistically. Like, you save lives. Yes. As long as you're a good doctor, you save lives. And so, like, when you get that scene in the classroom, that classroom scene is the one that frustrates me most, because that is the most spoon-feedy scene in the entire series, possibly. Like,
it directly contrasts the beginning scene. It's something that everyone should understand, but yet you still feel like people need it explained to them.
We get the one kid. Oh yeah, spit.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to tie this back to another topic that we brought up, where it's like audiences put so much of themselves in these series,
Yeah.
and they don't understand, right? I've seen so much about people's critiques towards the ending and how like, oh, Deku didn't do XYZ, like his way of helping was superficial, like he didn't say XYZ. It's like no, like this is a 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid who who helped change the world through his actions and through him as a person. That like it's like it's crazy how people have like they put on their thinking caps and they're like, oh my god, like my hero would have been so perfect, and it like it makes no sense why Deku didn't do XYZ. No, because he's a kid. Like you want Deku to turn to the camera and go, here's how we should fix stuff. Like it's aggravating and like
It's
like
yeah,
do
I
you
just
not want
want
to
to know
these
what were
characters
the
to be
updates
people?
to the zoning law in each prefecture. Okay, I just want to
Yeah,
know like
it's like
exactly like what did they change?
are these characters
And
not
I
like
Are
I
they
I
thought
allowing
like
for mixed
Horikoshi
use
was
family?
I saw
I
Horikoshi
saw
was applauded for how he humanizes these characters, with how he fleshes them out and makes them real people. I thought that was a big part about why people love Horikoshi. I guess not.
I can
Is that
sparkle like
Bluey?
a firefly.
Is that Bluey?
Oh no, that's like a super simple song, so that means I got to turn it down. Whoops.
That's cute.
Oh,
Sparkle like a firefly
um,
any day of the week.
yeah,
Right, like a
but
diamond.
it's
But yeah,
exactly
go on.
that. People, there are things in real life that people aren't comfortable with hearing about how, like, okay, we have these idealistic solutions, but the reality is that people are different. We have different interests. Our interests often conflict, and policies have pros and policies have cons. It's not as simple as just we pick the one policy that's good and all of a sudden everything is hunky dory. It's like the
Yeah.
society is continuously growing. There's always back and forth. It's messy. It's not clean. It's not fair. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that things is true, and that's why it's
Well,
like
it's
I like My
also
Hero's ending in that it's like it doesn't push. It doesn't go from a top-down policy perspective. It goes from a bottom-up. People have to learn how to be good people,
Which
kind
I
of
do want to
thing.
point something out. Politics and political policy exist downstream from cultural issues. So
Well, yes.
nothing becomes a law and like without a bunch of people already kind of supporting it. Obviously, like governments can like sneak stuff past their constituents, blah blah blah. But what I'm saying is that like, for example, all right, we're gonna go back to the civil rights. Well, I'm black, sue me.
okay. Let's go.
But one of the things that annoys me is when I like talk to people and they're like, well, obviously, like that's what the civil rights movement for. I don't know why black people think there's racism nowadays. Okay, so in the 1960s, we started making it illegal to do bad things to people for their race. Like we started trying to do that, right? But that also means that
Fair
for
housing
like
act.
200 years plus, that the culture of the country was okay with that. And so with that, and so then you have to ask yourself, well, even if like a certain amount of people, like the rules change, right? Like the law changes, but the law changing doesn't mean all 100% of the people, upstream agree with this. What it actually
Reflection
means,
of eventually it became a majority of people who held the
or
view, and then from the majority you have a law that will come forth. It's an evolving society,
and
as we say.
it's even more nuanced because you can actually don't even need to be at a majority. You just need to have a functional
Sometimes, yeah.
section, control of certain sectors, and you can make stuff happen. And like that doesn't mean that those people who were mad about it, right? Like let's say there was and it's just like super ideal and it's like 51-49. Because like the reality is this, it's more like it's 40% cares, 40% is against it, 20% doesn't care. Like that's kind of
And
how it
some
works.
people are just going, and some people are just in it for more of a tribal run, where it's like, oh, they want it, well, now we don't want it, and
Exactly.
you're going to have elements of that will always make real society just, well,
And so
whatever it is.
so them
And so it's
wanting
like I don't like that projection onto fiction, where
right,
it's like, no, let fictional worlds be fictional.
and so when you're asking for
Without
top-down solutions, you're saying, like, as far as My Hero is concerned, You're saying I just want to like I want the illusion or the look of it being fixed. I don't want to think about how it would actually be fixed because
Well, you want the
Right.
well. The thing is that when we talk about like essentially a top-down approach, where essentially saying let's implement a policy, and then from the results of that policy, change the essentially the culture
right,
around like how they think of that certain idea.
and that's the
Historically, I
goal.
think of yeah. So can I give an kind of an
Yeah,
example of
yeah.
that?
Go ahead.
So okay, so basically, post Great Depression, you had a ton of unemployment. You had just like basically if just rampant poverty, and you had an elderly poverty rate of about 70% at its peak. And so you had FDR come in, and he proposed Social Security. Social Security at the time was not portrayed in the news positively. It was seen as like, handout. It was seen as like later on it was seen as like communist and all that. But they implement the policy, and over the next 10 to 20 years, you see elderly poverty get cut in half. And now in 2025, even in conservative like places, you don't actually hear much about the idea of explicitly cutting Social Security. You'll hear about it like talked about like in a roundabout way, but they never directly refer to it. Like, and I use that example because it's just one of those things where now it's like in 2025 it's like inconceivable to try to gut this policy, even though back in the day when it was implemented it was fairly controversial, even with the economic devastation Americans were dealing with, and it was heavily pushed against by the media class and the wealthy. So um,
Which is
culture does affect politics, but when we ask for a top-down approach, we're essentially asking for policy to change like the cultural attitudes of how we think about a thing.
Well,
Another
that's just
example is
as simple as, "Oh, you're feeding me.
yeah,
Why are you taking away my food?" kind of thing. It's like there's
yeah.
some things that are simple and there's some things that are more complicated. But I think
Well, there's also
when you
like
have
the
a
segregation example.
oh, well, yes,
Yeah,
segregation is also I
what
think actually works better
I
just because it's like when you have something when you like yes, you can have especially when it's something that affects people as they're like children. Right?
yeah.
mhm.
It's like segregation policy I think is a much better example
I'm
just because of the immediate tangible effects that it has on how you socialize.
so I'm from
I
the
think that's
most
actually
segregated
that
city
was
of the United States. Just as a fun fact
yeah.
about me. And
Mhm.
so this segregation is a great example of how deep like so first off, like a lot of the like when you desegregate, like the people who 'cause again, I'm from the most segregated city. So it was possible for me as a kid who was born in 1993. Um, Aaron Margetta, Samantha Gilbo, Augustina, Aaron Hines. Um, those are the white kids that I went to school with before. Um, before. Oh, let's add a more relevant name like John. I'm gonna say John A. I'm not gonna say his whole name because sometimes he shows up in chat to support, and he's been my friend since I was 13. Oh, and then
Aw.
Aaron Keys. But like, think about this for a second. I'm naming off the white kids in my school, like that I went to school with over the course of like 10 years. So segregation work, like when you say segregation can no longer be legal, like what can happen is, and this does happen, the white people and black people who actually get to interact with each other and spend time around each other, as long as like there's not like a heavy conflict, those like white people will never co-sign like the absurdities that you get from like the smaller town areas where, and this is another fun fact, in 2016 I met my boy K Freedy the Goat. No, actually it was probably before that, but Kyle has a very interesting perspective, as he was like 30 when we started hanging out in like 2014, 2015, maybe 2016. So now he's about 40, but like he had not met a black person until the mid 2000s when he finally moved to Milwaukee. when he was in his 20s. So segregation for people, like when it was for like mandatory desegregation, like you couldn't just do that. There was also this phenomenon called white flight, in which white people who lived in areas that were being desegregated purposely bought like land and houses and moved out of those towns so that they would not have to interact with minorities. In turn, people in those areas did not adjust nearly as quickly to, you know, like the cultural shift that was happening in the cities. That's also why today the cities are terrible. Urban. That's why urban is like a euphemism for minority, because the people who fled the end of segregation, they were so dedicated to racism, they were like, nah, bro, I'm leaving my home. And so I think when you say segregation is a great example of this, you're correct on both sides on how top down does not work, because like top down can end up not working, and on how like when you have people who finally live in those areas and finally see that that law was changed for a reason, they can benefit. So it like covers the entirety of what we're talking about, of like why it's important to also just have on the ground change. Like we know that Hawks and them are like talking about, just like when people say, oh, the hero rankings are they Endeavor is the only nigga who was that obsessed on the leaderboard. I feel like nobody talks about this enough. Endeavor was the only
Right? Why are we?
nigga
Why are we?
who was like, oh!
Right? No. Why are we? Why are we changing everything just because Endeavor couldn't hold it together, kind of thing? It's like,
So like,
no, it's like, you need functioning, like you need functioning and competent people at the top. You also just need a ground. You need both. Is exactly the thing. It's like before you could argue we had something that was good that looked good from the top down to a point, but because we weren't cultivating the right heroic spirit within people, that's why you have the issues that we have.
so I want to
So yeah, no,
answer.
you absolutely need both.
I want to answer a question from Cameron Bailey real quick. So even though the
Mhm.
heteromorph plotline needed more work, was the city thing accurate? For the most part, yes. And I say this as a black person who is very capable of making white friends, because I mentioned this on Twitter today. I went to Lutheran high school. That means I went to a private high school, because there was basically, hey, you're a broke nigga, you can go to this private school. We'll send them money. Called school choice. And what you found at these schools, die fly. But like what I found is that like the weird racist stuff that people would say occasionally was like pretty much never from the people who actually lived in Milwaukee, right? Like I went to Milwaukee Lutheran High School, and Milwaukee niggas and criggers, they're fine. It was the Germantown kids who like only hung out with one black kid ever, or any of those other stuff. Or like, for example, I didn't go to Wisconsin Lutheran High School specifically because I knew that they had even more racism issues than Milwaukee Lutheran High School, because at least Milwaukee Lutheran had like a 20 to 30, 40% black population, whereas Wisco was like 90% white. And like there were kids would go there for an open house, and he was like, oh, you seem really cool, but I'm not going to be able to be your friend because my parent doesn't allow me to have black friends. And that was said in like 2007. So
Not the
yeah,
craziest
when you're in
people
the
I've heard.
city,
Yeah.
when you're in the city, people are a lot more reasonable. But those small town areas legitimately
Yeah.
have issues. Like I have a friend from Evansville, which is the cousin of Janesville, and Janesville is like the KKK center of Wisconsin, or at least at one point was. Evansville is considered worse. Like I have a friend from Evansville who lies and would rather say he's from Janesville because of how embarrassing being from Evansville is. Because of how racist and bigoted they are. Like there's not even just race, like he's also like gay as shit. So that doesn't make small town living any better for him.
Yeah, no, he's double cooked. Yeah,
Well, he's white,
he's
but
triple
he's gay as
fried.
hell. So, well, he was a gay
Yeah, but like
Catholic. So,
white, yeah, but like white, gay, and Catholic, yeah, that's like being triple cooked, you know? Because it's like, yeah, you white, but gay is like a 2 times multiplier for whatever BS you're facing.
so
Okay,
yeah.
and then you Catholic and gay, that's like you basically gotta like divide by like a bigger fraction.
So
So
yeah,
it's like
like I think that
you end up with a pretty big.
genuinely a lot of people, and I even say this about like the way people talk about real life politics, don't understand like large systems because most people do not understand large systems. Here's a more innocent one that's like kind of funny. So I was explaining it to one of my coworkers one day, right? About like how one of the things that they did was like reintroducing wolves into nature after, trying to fix their population, and they're hunting deer and all this other stuff or whatever. And my boss goes, or not my boss, she's not my boss anymore, but she goes, "Oh, um, well, they did that and it didn't even do anything. The farmers are still having problems, like the farmers are straight up said it didn't do anything." And I was like, well, that's because farmers aren't looking at the right data or like the right data point necessarily. So like the farmer thinks I still have deer eating my crops, introducing the wolves into the wild did nothing. But in reality, the population of the deer is lower now, so it's more regulated, so they're not going to accidentally famine themselves out of existence. And the only reason they're eating your crops is because your crops are food. It has nothing to do with whether or not there are wolves. It has everything to do with the fact that you have food. And if I am an animal and I see food, I eat the food.
Yeah, it's not like we're gonna get rid of the deer.
Like
the
Well,
deers are still
I'm
gonna.
someone. So I'm someone. As y'all know, I live in LA. So I'm someone who always. Uh, I hear a bunch of like complaints about like stuff going on in their neighborhood and stuff. Like when it comes to like potholes or some type of infrastructural damage or some type of repair that needs to be done. And it's like I cannot emphasize this enough. 95% of the stuff you will complain about seeing in your own neighborhood, that is at the local level. That is at the municipal level. Like the biggest things that the biggest things that like can annoy you about like if a street corner is like too sharp or something like that. This is stuff you can actively impact if you go to like a city hall, or in my case in LA there's like a board for everything. Okay, so if you go to the right board and you like pressure them on something, like the amount of housing projects that have got shut down, the amount of housing development that has got shut down because someone just sat at city council day after day and just voiced their discontent on a project, it's too many to count. And we have this
No one wants it
very
in their backyard.
yeah
No one wants
yeah.
it in their
I'm
backyard.
talking
I can tell you.
yeah
I
no
can tell
there,
you. I would
there's
have done
no
the same thing to this freeway that they built right on
yeah
top of my house. Like it's
yeah
terrible. No, I totally under. These are things that what I mean. Like there are clean. There are not
but
clean solutions in real
I
life.
mean
No one
I can
wants
use
to
the
deal with this
example of like
stuff in their
housing
backyard.
development. I mean I can use the example of
Oh,
housing
oh yeah,
development and
no.
all that, but it's like my main
Oh,
thing is
well, it's
that
the
the
same here,
majority of
actually.
stuff
There's going to
that you're
be
yeah
500 unit apartment built like right across the street. I am living in one of a seriously populated, densely populated area. We have a terrible intersection, and they're going to build a 500 unit apartment complex for affordable housing like right across the street. Like these are real issues that people just don't like, and there aren't like clean and easy solutions to them. So it's like
Yeah.
so
nah, like
but
when
my
it
thing
happens to
is that
you,
yeah
people don't like it.
I know, but my thing is that like whether it's advocating for or against a particular product or whatever, 99% of the stuff, 95% of the
It's
stuff that
local.
you have a problem with, it's local. And the best thing
Yeah.
about something being local is that at the electoral like level, the amount of votes that they need, like your vote matters a lot,
A
like a
whole
lot.
lot.
So if you so it, but when you ask most people like what do they actually think of government, what do they think? If most people they think president, maybe Senate, House, Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Maybe governor if you really got someone who's I guess kind of paying attention. There's
Yeah. And
10 different levels below that that is infinitely more relevant to your life. But we
yeah,
don't talk about
the
the
mayor or
controller or the
yeah,
mayor of this particular city in like Southern California and all that,
you have to
or
be
my
from a small town to
comptroller.
care about that kind of stuff, I think, because I think when you're from a bigger city, you're used to thinking bigger. And well, in general though, people put way too much on the bigger picture and not enough on what's going on closest to them. And that's what I like that what MHA touches upon. There are things you can do to make the world better, like right in front of you. And
I mean, it's
and not enough stories will about that, I think.
I
I just think in general, when you're always looking at the large scale picture of something, you forget about like the little details that compose that image. If there's a major problem in your city, I promise you there's like 10 different things at the local level you can do to ease the pain
Yeah.
that the issue causes
Yes.
before you get
Oh
into
no,
any
absolutely.
national reform, which will of course be
Mm.
significant, but it's like there are things that you can do first beforehand before we start thinking about the biggest picture, which ultimately you have the least control over because of the sheer scale of amount of votes that are involved and the sheer amount of money that's involved.
I mean,
Laws,
people treat this as like a civilization game where you just go like, here, Gandhi, learn. I don't know. Like I haven't played in a while, but like you know what I mean, right? Like it's just
yeah.
like trying to like try and game things to where like, oh, if you just do this, 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 and like all the problems will be fixed. It's like, well, those aren't like exactly lottery results where you're just getting a, oh, you win. No,
Well,
it takes a lot of work.
I think the biggest thing that MHA does is the heavy focus on family, like the heavy focus on family and raising children.
Mhm.
That is, I think, the most effective way that MHA gets that message across. Like here, we're in the weeds talking about like government policy at the local level, which is obviously important. But I think the way that MHA drives it even like closer to home, literally like home. Like home is such an important thing. Like you can be a quote unquote hero just by being a good parent. Like look at the situation with the Shimura family. Like, that whole
Mhm.
thing was a derivative of Nana Shimura um, having a kid and then being completely unable to support and be there for him.
I'm
That
gonna be
created
real.
generational trauma
I like that
and just
example.
the absence of working families in MHA, whether it's Toga's family, Endeavor's family, Tenko's family, and even the tragedy that happened with Twice. It started with his parents getting killed unexpectedly and tragically. Hawks himself didn't even. I mean, you could call Hawks' family a family, but my goodness, like
No man.
from so many things start from. Honestly, Hawks had it the worst. um,
I mean, even
so,
even All for
yeah.
One was impacted by the lack of a parent figure.
So that's something
Like,
I want
Okay,
to
yeah, that's
say.
true.
Like as a parent, like there
So
are
much of it starts with you,
there's
Aniki.
there's like my daughter, for example. Like let's say I go take a poop. Just say I'm sitting on the toilet, and I'm like, yep, this is gonna
Mhm.
be a long one. Every now and then, all of a sudden, I hear pat 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 as my daughter's walking around barefoot,
Mhm.
and I hear, Dad, where are you, Dad? Where'd you
Aw.
go? And when I'm like done, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. Open the door and I go, Jeannie, and she go, Dad, there you are. I feel like a
Aw.
fucking
Yeah.
So
superhero,
sweet.
bro. Like,
They
You
like I,
do.
depend
cause
on
like
you.
she's just
They
so
they
happy, right? And so this
mhm.
is the other part of being a parent that makes like all parents in fiction that do like this crazy ass shit even stranger to me. It makes dealing with my own family hard. Is like I don't understand having the opportunity to see that joy in a being, to like foster
Yeah.
that, and then just being like, what if I focused on
Hey,
some
be
whole other
cruel.
shit? And like
Yeah.
I get it because there's stuff that like when I'm interacting or like when my daughter's doing something wrong and I'm like, you need to stop. I have told you this. And I can tell that I'm getting angry and then I'm like, no, like avoid your parents' voice.
Yeah.
Like I have to not use my parents' voice when I talk to my daughter because that like how they talk to you is how you kind of end up talking to other people. And so you have to like
Yeah.
make sure you're aware of that. The reason I'm so blunt oftentimes is because of how I was raised. And I'm
Yeah.
still nicer than my mom. Like
Being self-aware is very difficult, also very stressful.
Yes.
But it's something that is worth. You need to. You need to teach people. I mean, some things it's difficult. I think about teaching others sometimes. I think about actually working out at the gym where it's like I'm trying to do that. I'm trying my best to be good and take care of myself. It costs much to be unhealthy. So I'm trying to take my care of myself. But when
Yeah.
I first start, it's like I have no idea what I'm doing, and a lot of exercise or whatever is like becoming aware of that mind muscle connection. That's not something that you can just teach someone, unfortunately. There's a lot of things that, and I think there's a lot of things like that where unfortunately experience and life and like having something shown to you is some
It's valuable. It's so here's the thing, right?
there's value to it, but you also have to experience it yourself, right? There's some things you can't learn until you experience it yourself, and that's so frustrating. But that's all the more reason why you need good people, good parents, other good role models, so that way you can get closer to that point quicker, where you experience the right things quicker, kind of thing. Getting that
I
leg
relate.
up by
Mhm.
having
Sort of
I
a
relate to
related
that
point,
life.
though.
perspective on health a lot. I mean, recently I've been basically this past couple of years
Oh,
I've been uh just like trying to take care of my health a little bit more. I had my shoulder operated on, my hands
Goodness.
recently, my knees, and nowadays, I'm really trying to, do the little things to, make my joints just a little bit easier to work with. And it's like initially it was pretty hard, but it's like I think like mindset wise, my main thing is like I'm trying to like avoid like just like the daily pains of just like living when I'm like 40, you know? Like that's
Yeah.
something I'm really trying to prioritize, and I'll admit it takes a certain amount of, I guess, humility if you
Mhm.
haven't done that before. So that was something I had to learn a lot
I
this year.
No, humility
if I
is
can if I can
yeah, go Thomas, go.
Oh, sorry. I just want to like go back to what you said, Anaki,
Mhm.
like that line, which is still sticking with me. It's very wholesome. The idea like how can you raise someone like your child and like not even just disregard them, but treat them wrong,
Mhm.
right? Like abuse them, shout at them, and you could use this, you could take that mindset and apply it to like every new person you meet, like the joy of like helping someone, like we all mentioned about like teaching,
Mhm.
like helping someone understand the workplace is just enough to like soothe your heart, right? Because when you
Yeah.
show someone, oh, here's what you do, here's what you don't, and you see them learn, you see them practice it and preach it, it's powerful. And a lot of people, and like unfortunately, I see this in the MHA community, don't apply this same mindset where people are constantly mean to each other. They're constantly arguing, bickering. Um, it's like it's that simple, like just take a step back. Like Seth said, like self-reflection, being self-aware is difficult, but it's a quirk that
uh,
is an honor to have.
okay. Okay.
Mm,
A little bit of a segue. I know Anarchy has seen it because he put me on it. How many of you have seen To Be Hero X?
of
No.
course. Been there
Okay.
day one.
All right. So
Yeah, that was fun.
slight spoilers for it, but there is a social media platform on this thing in the show called FOMO. Now,
Yeah.
um, I guess cover your ears for the next minute or so if you don't want the details because it kind of factors into like the larger scope plot. But anyway, the point of this social media platform is not so much to document the exploits of heroes, is to sow discord, division, and fear among the populace so
Hmm.
that like the main puppet master can bring back his I forget if he's related to him, but essentially his idol, who was like the first ultimate hero, but he was actually the ultimate supervillain, and he essentially transcended to become a god. So what he's planning to do is to continue stoking people's fear so that eventually there will be enough fear for his god to come back and rule the earth.
Yes.
So like I think that just kind of gets to like the whole point of division and how fostering hate leads to a manifestation of negativity, whether it is, you know, the To Be Hero X version, or like we've seen in MHA where it was the Shigaraki figure. Like they specifically mentioned that if they're not careful, another Shigaraki will pop up. And that is the whole thing with Grandma and Koki, where Koki's quirk like is more or less a variant of Shigaraki's. Like what we thought Shigaraki was with like the kind of mutant quirk, that's actually what Koki had. So he would have been risen up to be an even more perfected Shigaraki if they hadn't done what they did. Like if Deku had not given up One for All, Koki probably would have killed him in the future. It's dark, but like he probably would have been the one to do it. Like if he hadn't given up One for All. So the fact that he did that, that's what really initiated that mindset to where, okay, we can't rely on just another person anymore. That's not good enough. And in fact, we can now see the cost of that, of doing it to a person. And so we're not going to stand for that anymore. We're going to improve things together as heroes. And that's why we leave things where they are. And it's really, I'm just so anxious. Like we were talking about when to hold this, me, Aniki, and Seth. And what me and Seth said is like, look, man, we don't know when this 431 adaptation is going to come ultimately. Like we don't know if it could be this week, it could be the week after, it could actually even be months from now. We know we're getting it, right? But you only get the full picture of everything once you see how exactly the characters are moving on, now that they don't have to worry about, like now that they've put in the work over the course of 8 years where they don't have to just always be the ones everybody's depending on.
So
like they've earned that.
We're about 2 hours in, or not 2 hours in. We're about, actually, we are getting close to 2 hours. So, and what that really means is that doesn't mean, oh, it's time to end. What that actually means is it's time for me to not give a fuck about the fact that 431 wasn't properly animated in this episode, because anybody who's watching this long is probably a manga reader or a longtime viewer. So I want to talk about Shoto Todoroki, actually.
Oh, I was going to bring him up. I was so going to bring him up because of what Volk said.
Because
his discussion in that chapter.
Because Shoto Todoroki's arc is incomplete in 430.
Yes, exactly.
It is 431 specifically that allows him to reach the complete. Also, any woman or man who gets with Shoto Todoroki is going to have a crazy good interior house. Because the reality is that in another life where Endeavor is way more normal but still has 4 kids, Shoto's an interior designer. That is his future.
I mean, look at what he did to his room and
exactly.
The dorms.
So the thing that I really like,
he's doing Crash with like
Being
the
who he
pottery,
wants to
like
be.
the plates, whatnot.
Right, like he's making silverware, but like you look at what he did. He did the traditional Japanese layout in his bedroom for the rate. Which, by the way, thank you, Hori, for paying that off. It lets us know that traditional Japanese culture is something that Shoto has always been interested in. Like his favorite dish is soba. Like he's very traditionally Japanese. Even Todoroki is a very classic Japanese name. And so for him to the finale of his arc being, in my spare time, I work on traditional Japanese cutlery, and we know he can design in the inside of a home. He basically works on creating a peaceful space for himself. And creating peace, and then like giving people quite literally tools to have a more peaceful environment for themselves too. And if you think about it,
Shoto is very traditional Japanese, even in terms of the the family structure, unfortunately.
And then think
Not
about
that every Japanese home is abusive parentage. I just mean that,
yeah,
like,
no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I just mean, like, in terms of that patriarchal sense of the way that the man runs the house. Obviously, there are issues with being overly obsessed with your job and your profession, and your family life suffers for it.
And that's why Dabi
To say the least of
specifically
what happens.
suffers, because he is the oldest son. He cannot even though NG, and this is the cool thing, right? Like NG is I want to phrase this right. But there's no okay, so I'm going to preface this by saying I don't think there's a good way to phrase this. But NG is more progressive than he's given credit for, just by the sheer nature of his willingness to accept that Toya could not be who he wanted to be. Think about that. His oldest son was not going to be fit for his business, and he said, okay, you don't have to do that business. His son didn't listen, which led to him trying to save his son in a really fucked up way. But like
the tolerant left,
he accepted, I cannot pass my business down to my son, and I'm not going to force him to do that. And he kept trying to convince him that it's okay. Obviously, his own mental health issues and his own insecurity with All Might is something that Toya could see. And that's why Toya didn't want to let him give up on him. Because it also just feels like shit to know that he's given up on you. But like, it wasn't done in malice. And then like, they try to have more kids to get him to stop. And it just doesn't work because he knows his family business is heroes. And he knows that like everybody around him wants to be a hero. So all the pressure that Toya felt from being within that family, a large chunk of it is technically not even from within his family. It's actually derived from the social context that his family exists within. Because if he lived in a society that doesn't expect him to take over, and like if Endeavor is a little healthier about this, like, and like plays with his kids, boom, problem solved.
Yes, it's that inability to value anything other than heroism. For Endeavor, I think it's tied more into his fear of weakness. And he views heroism, how it's structured, it's the pinnacle of society. So he's striving for that pinnacle out of fear of his own weakness. So there's an extra layer there, but the social layer still stands plenty strong. It's also why Dabi wants to destroy all of society. He hates the society that is obsessed with false, what he knows to be false idols.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating the amount of layers MHA has. It's like, wow, there's so many onions here to peel.
What do I do with all these onions?
But yeah, I really do like the Todoroki family story though, because it is in fact about overcoming all of that and choosing to be like, you don't have to be what it is that that toxic place that you were born into, that isn't what you have to choose. Yeah. And that's what that's the choice that Deku actually gives back to Shoto. And Shoto, through his own effort, he saves his mom. And I also think Shoto has an influence on his father, because Endeavor actually starts changing before All Might. It starts changing when before the fight at Kamino, I think. It starts because when his obsessiveness towards Shoto, he doesn't beat Shoto now that Shoto is grown. For obvious reasons, Shoto can fight back, but I mean, just like he the way he helicopters Shoto is not quite like how in his how Shoto grew up. It's more like he kind of wants fatherly, well, I say fatherly, but it's like he wants recognition from his child as his father. So when he's parading Shoto, it's like, Shoto, this is what we do. This is what we heroes do. It's like a proud dad trying to show off for his son, kind of thing. Like there's a switch that goes off in Endeavor's head, I think, when Shoto says that he forgot you for a moment, and I think that actually awoke something in Endeavor that started the longer chain of becoming a better person.
And I think you're right about that, because to a certain, I'm gonna give my perspective as a father on this, and I assure you, if I ever saw my daughter do like the best she's ever done in like a sport competition or something like that, and her response was, "I did not think about you, and that's why I did well," I would be crushed because it would mean that I was a mental block. It would mean that I failed completely.
You weren't a part of her
You
life.
were a
You weren't a part
limiter.
of her success. You didn't do anything for her. You are insufficient. Like that, and I see that in my own parents. Like where they want to provide for me, and it's like they feel bad if they fall short. And I think that was starting to happen with Endeavor in regards to Shoto. And Endeavor actually straight up tells Shoto, "I'm trying to be better too." After the licensing exam. And obviously this pisses Shoto off because how dare you? But that is actually the right thing for Endeavor to do. He should have been doing it all along. So it's like the Todoroki family situation is complicated, but the point of trying to be the best version of yourself will always be correct. And I'm really thankful that My Hero extends that not just to the heroes, it also extends that to the villain. Whether that villain be Endeavor or when Endeavor chooses to be finally becomes a hero. It's like it's such a complicated thing, but it's true. Everyone can be a hero, and that makes people uncomfortable.
Not in the Dr.
Rightly
Horrible
so.
sing-along blog way, but yeah. Has anybody seen that movie just out of curiosity?
No.
Well, it's just the idea of a person that you hate and you're completely justified in hating could actually be a hero.
Yep.
Like that idea is very uncomfortable for people, and to a point rightly so, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it interesting. I don't recall the last time any media has ever tried to do what a Horikoshi has done with Endeavor.
I'll also say that like what Horikoshi displays is the textbook experience of being raised by somebody who has narcissistic issues. Because, and again, we got to go to my well, but there's a point, right? Like, so for all the stories I tell you guys, or like you guys hear about, like from stompings to chokings to grabs and like heads being smashed in the bathroom floors to smacking 3-year-olds and giving them nosebleeds that my mom did, like all this stuff. But people thought my mom was like a superhero. Why? Because she had 9 kids. And I'm the second one. So, like, obviously my older brother didn't live with us from the time he was, like, I was 10 and on or whatever, but I shouldn't say obviously because nobody knows why that's watching this. But the reality is that, like, if we were out somewhere, like, I remember we were somewhere and she said, "Oh, yeah, like, I would be so lost without my son," right? Like, because he helped so much. So she could tell people that I did good. And she could like show up and like people were like, "Oh yeah, like she's got all these kids and like her son like because teachers and stuff thought I was smart and all this." So they're like, "Oh yeah, she's got all these kids and her son is so smart. She's such a good mom." They didn't understand that like a lot of what I did was in spite of what I was dealing with. And like my mom herself just gave herself the credit, right? Like in her mind, all that stuff was fine. And like presenting herself as the martyr mom who was sacrificing herself and doing all this stuff. Except in the case of Endeavor, he's actually helping other people and doing stuff. Actually, it especially works as an analog with mom because my mom was a certified medical assistant and works in healthcare. So technically, my mom saves people, right? Like she technically saves people. He also quite literally got another woman fired because she sent her into my daughter's doctor's appointment one day, and the woman was taking my daughter's weight and stats and messaged them to her to let her know what my daughter's weight, how she looked, all this other stuff. Posted a screenshot in a group chat with my siblings, and my sister sent that shit to me within 15 minutes of her posting it. And before I was out the doctor's office, that woman was already on her way to being fired because that shit was illegal.
Yikes.
But my mom doesn't see it that way, right? Like I did that, I got her fired. No, you asked somebody to break the law and put my daughter at risk. That was never going to happen. My mom wouldn't have done that for me as a kid, but I'm damn sure going to protect mine. And so when you grow up and you have a parent that everybody loves and they think is this amazing person, it's even crazier what you go through, because you also have to ask yourself, and you don't have to ask yourself this. And if you're somebody who's younger, who stumbles upon this stream in this particular section, understand this. It is not your fault. It is not something you're doing wrong. You're not getting that good stuff because your parent just refuses to give it to you. They're capable of it. They don't think you deserve it, and they don't think you deserve it because they just think they're better than you. And they, like, my mom, I can tell you the thing that's different between my mom and Endeavor, and like that doesn't exist in most narcissistic parents. My mom didn't care or didn't want us to be better than her. Not really. And Endeavor's goal was to make kids better than himself. So at the very least, when he finally like had to like come to terms with it, he realized I've successfully made a kid better than me, and maybe I just need to take a step away. Because Natsuo's going to go be a doctor. He's going to save people. He's not going to hurt anybody. His goal is to become a doctor. I want to heal people. I don't want to cause any harm. Shoto became a hero to protect people, spends lots of time with children, shows them comfort. And then, you know, he moves forward. Now he's going to be an interior designer. Let's be real. He's going to be an interior designer. Fuyumi, let's look at Fuyumi's career. Fuyumi was a school teacher and eventually got a new job. But like, what was Fuyumi doing? Bridging the gap in her trauma and providing the nurturing that her family wasn't receiving from her father to the citizens and the kids around the country. Everyone's career is a reaction to the abuse that Endeavor put them through. And everybody is trying to go out and do actual, tangibly good things and not just be perceived as good. One of the Jalenism, since, you know, my real name is Jalen, is be the person that people will lie and say you were at your funeral anyway. Just actually be that person. Don't make people have to lie there. And for most of Endeavor's life, if he had died on the job, people would have been lying at his funeral, talking about how good he is. And a narcissist might be okay with that. But like for the people around him, it's awful. And like Dabi going off to become a murderer is just him becoming a even worse version of his father with no self-awareness. Because if you and the thing about Dabi that I like, and I've seen like Dabi stans really fucking miss the mark on somehow, I'm assuming it's because they consumed fan fiction, is Dabi's evil is truly his. The thing that separates him from Toga, the thing that separates him from Shigaraki, is that Dabi had way more of a choice in it than like most of the other league members. Spinner was the heteromorph trapped inside his house for fear of murder. If you become a villain in those circumstances, that's are you really a villain, or are you just tired of the bullshit you're dealing with? Toga just kind of snapped because she just didn't get the help she needed. And so like, but Dabi went home, saw Shoto getting his ass whooped, could have blasted
and
Enji.
turned around.
He could have blasted Enji right there.
He could have pulled. He could have pulled.
Like, you got to think, he could have like tried to attack Enji. He could have tried to find Shoto later and talk to him. He could have, like, there's so many options because again, and the reason why I say like Dabi stands don't miss this point is because somebody was like, well, All For One tried to group him too. All For One didn't even get to meet that nigga. Ujiko didn't even meet him. Or Ujiko might have worked on his body, but he didn't like talk to him. Like, Dabi woke up, like saw a nigga with a sunflower for a face and went, you look like a pedophile. And like blew the place up and left. like, let's be real here. Dabi was like, you look sus. I'm out this bitch. Went home and was like, I'm gonna go live on the streets. The thing that I kind of wanted Dabi is I really want it. Because like when people talk about like, oh, Dabi, I wanted to know if Dabi went to not to Fuyumi, to Rei's family and was basically like, you gonna bankroll me or I'm gonna fuck all this shit up. Because how did he live? You know, where was he? Like, what was he doing? That's the one thing that, like, if you want to complain about how Dabi was written, that's the complaint. I want to know what those gap years were, because when we see Dabi, he's 24.
Yeah, no, that was a long time.
That's 8 years.
I'm trying to think.
Well,
when
when you're a villain,
I don't remember how long it was after he woke up. from Sekoto. I
3
want to say
years.
like 5 years, 3 years. It
So he
told him took 3.
so he gets
So
injured at
he was
13.
like 11 years. Well, actually, wait, how old was he? Was
I
he
think I'm
12,
pretty sure he
10?
was 13 at Sekoto Peak.
Okay.
Wakes up 3
So
years
he woke up.
later, which is why his voice changes, because it's 3 years is like 16 is long
Yeah,
enough.
he had to go through some puberty while he was asleep or whatever the surgery did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So yeah, that's 8 years. You're right. Of we don't know what his life was like, other than probably just homeless or something. Like, yeah. No. I really like that Dabi. He is the only League of Villains member whose character arc requires him to apologize.
Yeah.
He's the only one who has to say I'm sorry, because he abandoned Shoto in that hell. He did.
Yeah. And
he never saw Shoto as a person either. He was only obsessed with Endeavor.
And I love the tragedy of his favorite food being soba.
They're just
It's
like
so good.
Because it's
They
like,
are in fact alike. Yeah.
holy shit. If you had just gotten to have that, like
a
if
meal.
you had just talked, things would have been different. His vocal cords were damaged in the fire. Obviously, he's going to take some damage, but it was 3 years, and he was also taller. Like, he was confused about like his body proportions too. So he definitely went through standard puberty changes while unconscious for 3 years. So, but yeah, like
I think the idea that all these villains suffer from, like, the idea that if someone just stepped forward and reached out their hands, they could have like changed the trajectory of their lives. But it also applies to Dabi, where he could have stepped forward and gave Shoto his hands. It could change his trajectory.
He could have been a hero. Yes.
He could have been a hero. He didn't even need his fire quirk.
Yeah, and that's the
hero.
yeah, that is the cruel irony of it. But it's beautiful how consistent MHA is with this theme. And yeah, it's Dabi was supposed to be a hero, just not quite the hero
that he thought he was supposed to
would
be.
Yeah, and same with Endeavor, obviously.
Yeah, I think I do want to talk about the gap years a little. I think now that I think about it, I mean, Dabi had a bit of a head start compared to other villains. That motherfucker was raised by like a number 2 hero. He learned a lot of shit. He was a rich boy, right? So like he knew shit. So I think it's pretty reasonable to assume he would know how to operate under the radar, just steal food when he'd need to. Like he'd do this. He'd just squat whenever he needed a place to stay. So I think that kind of explains what he was doing.
Also, I guess I have to address the Dabi killed thousands thing, because I've seen people be like, that's wholly inaccurate. And I'm gonna say to that, not exactly. Because
the Dabi
killed 30 people.
Look,
well,
it doesn't really matter how many he killed, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah, but
it really doesn't matter. Even one is its own tragedy that echoes throughout.
I want to address it
throughout this society.
Because one, that 30 number that people quote like comes from around Overhaul arc. 2,
yes,
the other reason people say he killed thousands is because 1, he caught hella bodies during MVA. Like the dude, like the scale of the attacks that he and Gitsin were throwing at each other were just absurd. Like they were throwing like city block size attacks at each other. It's not like the other MLA members were like, yep, they're having a big AoE fight over there, so we're not going to try to help. All of them were ready to die for the cause and eating attacks.
Ain't open no Twitch stream.
2, Dabi was just throwing out Fire Blast the entire ride on Makia's back.
Yep.
Like I don't think you can
regardless
like
of
that
even
much
any
stuff.
of that,
Like what?
I mean, regardless of even any of that, being complicit in Makia's rampage, being complicit in All for One's takeover of Japan and breaking out of Tartarus and Shigaraki's rampage, complicit in all of that is already just terrible.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
Like I don't
do you
actually
need the
care.
blood like stained on your hands to be responsible for all that? It's like
I don't care about,
just signed up for it and enabled it.
Like I don't care about the real number. I just think it's Like, it's not crazy when people say like he killed thousands. Like, he was complicit in Makia's rampage, as you just stated. Makia's rampage
Yes.
would have killed thousands. And I know people were like, "Well, they didn't say it
That's
killed out." I don't know
uh,
if Seth. I don't know if you were a viewer or like we had talked about it when I did this on stream once. But I just like
uh,
pulled up a map, right, and looked at which prefectures that like Makia would have ran through based on what was drawn. And like one of the
yeah.
prefectures he went through had like a 40,000 some like crazy like population density. Like he went through like the Kyoto prefecture.
Yes.
And it's like
Yeah.
he went through the Kyoto prefecture and that has like thousands upon thousands of people per square mile. And Makia needed to
No,
be
just
cleared
run
out
right
like
into any single capsule hotel, and well, if there were any hotels in that area that he ran through already, that's hundreds. Like,
he
it's ridiculous.
derailed
The idea that
a mag rail, so that's another couple hundred. Like,
never mind the people who died just from the debris.
yeah, it's like
Just
all
as
this.
just as a side note, one of my favorite bits of trivia about that sequence is it happened right at the same time when Gege like eviscerated thousands of people in Shibuya for JJK.
Mhm.
Like they did that at the same time. They did the exact same like collateral damage thing. And
Oh yeah, that
yeah.
made for pretty insane weekly leaks.
Also, that Makia page turn. There's a lot of times where mangaka don't always lean into that, but that Makia page turn might have been the best one in the entire manga. Like just
Yeah.
like turning the
It's a
page
really good
and you
page
just
turn.
see
It's not my favorite, but it's really powerful.
like
I still
The
remember that
scale.
manga. I still remember that panel and all the series about Inko Midoriya being there at that exact moment because of bicycle.
The other
Girlfriend.
great
Oh,
one
yeah.
was the other great one was Deku like charging at Shigaraki, or All For One, I should say, after he like insulted everybody's sacrifice during POW. He, like you hear him talking shit, and it's just
Yeah.
next page, he's right in his
Deku
face.
traveling. Yeah.
My favorite might actually be an MVA, but I guess it's technically not a page turn because it's at the end of the chapter. It would be a page turn in the volume, I suppose. But my favorite one is actually just when Tenko is crying and he's holding Mon and Mon starts cracking,
oh yeah.
because that's you know exactly what's going to happen regardless of literally whatever happens in the next chapter. You know what happens.
I'll say
Like,
that's I think
as
that's
soon
my
as it
favorite
starts
ending
happening, you
hook.
just know.
I think that's my I
And
think that might have been my favorite final page actually. I think that's legitimately
it's
the best
so
final
good.
page.
It's so good. It leans in. It leads into everything that's about to happen, and there's so much dread when you see it. And then the actual chapter is just worse than you could ever really imagine, even though you've already imagined it.
And that chapter has
It's
like
so
so
bad.
little action. Like there's dialogue in that chapter, but genuinely, I like when you're reading that chapter, you're kind of just sitting there with your hands on your head, like, oh my god, no, 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 no. Like Moan
Oh,
dies,
just
the sister comes in, and you're like,
and the
no,
look.
wait.
Yeah, no, it's a slow moving train wreck, and just the way it ends. I think my favorite, I started talking about another page turn, but my actual favorite page turn might be Tenko's face when he finally kills his dad. That's just so
Oh
chilling
yeah.
and impactful and crazy.
Wait,
Shigaraki has a lot of insane page turns, to be
take that back.
perfectly clear.
Another top 5 Shigaraki page turn, the mall incident. When you get like that,
The
Oh,
mall
that's
incident,
the face?
yeah, with the
no,
face.
Shigaraki's.
Yeah.
It's all Shigaraki. Let's be clear. When Shigaraki is first introduced, when he's first introduced, page of him coming through the portal is so freaking raw. When the mall scene, when you see his smile for the first time, that's so creepy. Yes, Tenko's face when he's killing his dad, and then there's also when he's coming up on Deku and Bakugo, and just his aura
Yeah.
is decaying.
That was the
them.
one I was gonna
Like
mention.
Shigaraki is freaking insane. Just an aura farmer. And it's just his
I don't
face.
know if this counts. I don't know if this counts, but I remember getting my friend into My Hero, and they got to the Star Strife fight. And I think they turned to the double pace spread where you just see Shigaraki's hands
Yeah,
in the sky, and it's their favorite panel to this day.
I mean,
so good.
how I described Shigaraki to Aniki, like what I shared on one of the pages, like in MVA when he's like one against Redestro, he's gain command of the Men Liberation Army. I'm like, and he's talking about being, and they're talking about him being a king, like a proper king. I'm like, bro, Shigaraki is actually Luffy if he was a supervillain.
Honestly, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Even right down to the body horror, I think. Yes.
I do find it ironic, with that in mind, that Horikoshi. I think this is confirmed, unless people are bullshitting. Horikoshi wanted Deku to be like Luffy, at the beginning. But now, AKA, it's Shigaraki who
He wanted
embodies a
him
lot of
to.
Luffy's ideas.
King
He
of
wanted him to
the
be a bit
pirates, so to speak.
more.
King of the villains. Well, if
Yeah.
He wanted him to
the
be
pirate
more
was actually a
cocky,
bad
I
thing,
think.
then
Yeah, legit.
yes.
He wanted
Yeah,
him to be
like
a
being
bit
a
more
villain is pretty
cocky.
terrible in MHA. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But being a
Yeah.
pirate in One Piece is just like water is wet.
Yeah.
So
Yes and
okay,
no.
okay. Actually, I want to address that real quick because this is actually one of my biggest pet peeves about Oda as a writer. He actually sucks at writing gray. Like Luffy should not be a clear good character if he's supposed to be like a lot of the pirates are just demonstrably better to the extent that it's like this isn't like morally gray writing. This is just the pirates are better people. And we spend so little time with like truly evil pirates. It's strange. Like I think that's why people are so attached to Dofi, even though I find him kind of boring. Like because I just view him as a rich
Dofi
kid.
is really boring.
Like I just view him as
I'm
like an
sorry, I
annoying
was
rich
so
kid.
bored with Dressrosa.
Like I view him as an annoying rich kid that just like didn't get told no enough, and like that's the thing that so he like annoys the shit out of me. But like Law is great, but Law comes off as like a gray character too, except he's blatantly not gray. He's very clearly like a light side character because he like pulls the drugs
He's
out of the
closer to
children.
Hawks, I think, in that regard.
Like
I mean, I want to be careful with what I say here because I know that let's just call them a certain angel force and angelic force who are very diligent about defending parts of the series. But I think part of what makes One Piece kind of like universal, but also at the same time kind of limits it in some ways is Oda's solutions are very simple.
Yep.
They're very, very simple. Like conflicts tend to like even if there are multiple components to them, like what we saw with Wano, there were multiple levels of oppression, like just multiple. Solutions still ended up just beating Kaido's ass, even if there's other stuff. It's like I prefer when you were talking about the Black Clover scene, where it's like there is an acknowledgement that okay, you can beat ass, but then there needs to be that other step after. But One Piece kind of doesn't linger on that, and at the same time, I also find that like when One Piece fans talk about other series, it just will irk me how they speak on certain issues because they just don't. They're not used to grasping the full nature of them because they are so
feel
in
like-
tune with like how One Piece does things. But then once they step out of that, because it's about agenda and just trying to be like, oh, One Piece does this, and this. It's like, well, I'm not sure how much I really agree with all of that, right? Like that's just.
I feel like All for One when I'm reading One Piece for exactly the reason that you said. I feel like I just, okay, the hero's gonna beat the villain and it's gonna be a happy story. All right, bye. I feel like All for One when I'm reading One Piece is like, all right, that seems like a very complicated setup for a solution that's just going to be very, very simple, straightforward.
Yeah, like for example, all the famine was offset by Green Bull. Like he showed up and fixed the environment. We didn't have to like work for that. We just had to have an admiral show up and then eventually get yelled at and kicked off the island. So, but yeah, like that was just
entirely enjoyable. There's a lot of impressive
rage
things
that I
about
feel
One Piece.
here
It's just
all
I'm
of
not.
the great Raider.
The politics in One Piece are, I don't want to say
They're so simple that they're not like the politics of it is just it's not controversial. It's just the good guy beats the. It's not that.
Yep. Like,
Words cannot
It's
express my
okay. It's
rage
still
for
perfectly
the
enjoyable, and there's still a
horrible
lot of redeeming factors about One
I
Piece.
do.
It's
everything
just
bad in life happens to him.
I do want to shout out Alves in the chat for saying Oda leans into the fantasy of Luffy punching the wrong way. Then people like Vivi, Dalton, Momo pick up the pieces and work to better the world. Which I do kind of agree with. I do think, me personally,
it's the
Oda isn't awful at the gray, but he does really pull his punches at times when he shouldn't. It's like I've seen this a lot where people criticizing Horikoshi, where it's like, Oda does it a lot more, or actually does it, where like he'll introduce this great plot. Specifically, one of the examples is Kaido, with Wano, but it feels really bare bones. And I didn't like it, but I don't think Oda's bad at it. I just think he can be very lame at times.
I mean, there was this thread breaking down about like, oh, MHA doesn't really show solving societal issues in like a meaningful way. It doesn't break that down. Go into the comments and like, it devolves into like, it turns into a One Piece discussion. And it's like, oh well, no,
I wouldn't.
One Piece is absolutely different in how it shows things. It's like it does show that real change. I'm like, I think it shows a different solution and kind of just overriding previous faults and wrongs, not necessarily trying to, rectify a system the way MHA does it. So it's like that was something I'm like, I'm not sure you're really assessing either like fully accurately. But that was just my impression of it.
It's taking. I said before how I'm annoyed when authors kind of take themselves too seriously. I'm also quite annoyed when an audience takes a work of literature a little bit too seriously. Some things are worth it. Don't get me wrong, but I just mean like One Piece is not. I don't know why people sort of rally around One Piece the way they do. Not because I don't think One Piece is good. I think it absolutely has earned its large fan base, but I think that just the way people treat it as though Oda is like writing like some kind of scripture or something. He's like, no, these are just the adventures of pirates. And they're who are they going to save next kind of thing, and totally
It
enjoyable
just
story,
comes
but it's not
down
like
to people act that way just because they love the series. It's just the same thing with everyone in My Hero and other series. If you just like a series, it doesn't need to be the most well written. You will just treat it like it's the Holy Scriptures. How I treat Dragon Ball, even though I know
yeah.
it's literally dog shit, but I still love Dragon Ball, so I'm gonna treat it like it's peak and like better than every series.
Sure. Yeah, no, and that's totally fine. I think finding something to love, whatever it is like that's important. It's important to have that.
Whether or not the arguments will be logical is a different. It's a different story.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I look over at Jujutsu Kaisen, and I know why Jujutsu Kaisen is successful, but I don't want to tell Shonen Bros why Jujutsu Kaisen is successful.
Yeah.
It's not. It's. I don't know. When you go to a theater and you see the line and it's all girls, it's like I don't think they're having power scaling discussions online, guys.
As they shouldn't. Power Skate sucks for sort of shipping, but hey, that's neither here or there.
Yeah.
Also, I heard that the Jujutsu Kaisen, well, the release in cinemas went shocking for a lot of people. In terms of
we're JJK fans. We don't fucking read our manga, so a lot of people were shocked that it was a Shibuya in 2 episodes and not a completely new movie.
So
was Maharaga and Sukuna on screen, on the big screen?
The Blu-ray fight, yes.
Okay, cool. That's sick.
Oh yeah, Maharaga. Wait, how many people read Modulo?
I heard.
I am
only
waiting for
look
it
at
to
links.
be done before I dive in, and in
Yeah.
fact, I'm debating.
Okay, wait for it to be done. Wait for it to be done.
I'm debating rereading the main JJK manga too, just to like see what I think of it now.
Yeah,
Because I do want to
I
reread
am
it.
keeping this. I'm in a weird position because I'm reading Modulo without ever having finished JJK. It's weird. It's fun. I like it. But I also don't like it, and there are reasons for that. But I can't talk about them now because you guys haven't read it, and that's okay.
I'm catching
That is
up.
okay.
I'm almost there. I
I
just
like
feel like
a
most
lot of the
animes have
concepts is the thing, right? I like a
Mhm.
lot of the
I like
but
what's
too much of
happening.
it is like the execution of it is what kind of leaves me a bit befuddled and or annoyed.
Well,
But
that's
I
JJK
I
in a
do
nutshell.
overall. Hmm?
That's
Yeah, no, no,
JJK in
no,
a
no, no,
nutshell.
really. No, really. It's like I'm on one hand, I think Modulo is a little bit quote unquote better, but that's really kind of only because Gege is not really giving himself enough room to do much else. Which I mean, to be fair, being on rails is actually really good, but there are other reasons why I think Gege is not giving himself enough room here. Part of it, I think, is just he's determined to make it a shorter story, and that, I feel like that misses that the pacing is off for me as a result of that. There are some
Yeah,
things here where it's
that's
like
a weird
this
thing
could be
we're
a
seeing now.
classic.
Yeah, we're seeing it now where a lot of mangakas are just going the shorter story route than choosing to go for like a very long time. Like Sakamoto Days is already in its final
Yeah.
arc, and that was way shorter than My Hero.
That's crazy.
So
I mean, you know what? I think it's a good thing in terms of manga health and also just, focusing maybe instead on saying what you want to say and then dipping out. I like that. But it does make me sad because a story like MHA is like,
I
it's sad
think
for
it should
me
have
to
had
think that
3
it's like
more
one of the
arcs
last of its
minimum.
kind.
Like,
You
I
couldn't
mean,
tell a longer story with MHA. I
expand
can
these,
tell you
yeah.
where to put in the arcs.
I mean,
be honest,
I can.
the longer story thing really is like a feature of Big Three era. Like, let's be
Yeah.
real.
It is. And I don't think, to be clear, longer story made the big three better. In fact, I think the big three are worse
Yeah,
for
for
being
sure.
forced to run as long as they were, because the authors very clearly do not have all that much to say, surely. And I say that respectfully. Because they did some really good work. I love a lot about the big three, but they're like, you know what? For One Piece could just be over by now. I don't know why we need to do all this. Bleach, well, they're different. Bleach is a little different, but I don't really know how to articulate that. Naruto,
Can't hear your own gold novel.
I fell out of love with Naruto in a way that makes me really sad. But Naruto still has a lot in its core that I really like. But in terms of the final war arc, I was just so depressed reading that.
There's something special about like, and I guess I kind of, as much, maybe it's selfish of me to say this, but I really appreciated the length of My Hero. Like I
Yeah.
got into the series when I was 14, and it ended when I was 24. Like I grew up alongside Deku. And there's not really any series that are currently airing that kids are going to have, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for making me
Maybe
feel
One
old,
Piece.
Thomas.
Yeah. Thanks,
Sorry.
Thomas. Well, I'm
Hey,
glad
hey.
that MHA ended while I still liked it, as opposed to one of the big three where they went on so long that I just whatever was appealing them for me, just I grew out of it or they just grew away from me, whatever it is. I appreciate. I would rather MHA end a little too early than too late.
Actually,
That-
that's
I
a
find
question I want to.
myself like
that
much
felt-
more interested in like I guess shorter stories now, or at least like ongoing ones. Like for me, I don't really want to spend a bunch of time like having to like read to get back to pace, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That felt
I
like
feel that too.
That felt like something Horikoshi was very conscious of. Like not just for enjoyment, but also his own health. It's like, okay, what can I do? What can I say? And that ended up being actually even longer than he planned. He started like very early. He was thinking, okay, 20 volumes. Then when he started the series from chapter 1, he's like, okay, I'm thinking 30 volumes. As we know, that stretched on for another dozen volumes.
Quick question.
Mainly because he
Yep.
Does anybody know anybody who predicted how many volumes MHA would be?
No.
Really? You
I think
don't?
I said 50.
You don't?
You
Look,
did.
man, I'm in my old man era. I can't remember nothing.
I feel like you did,
I
right?
specifically said it would be 42 volumes multiple times.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
my
How
my
you do that?
prediction was my prediction was like 45 to 50 with like before POW, but then once it became over, it's like, my God, maybe we reach 45 to 50 eventually, but it became clear we were gonna get a little short of that.
And the reason
But
why I guess that
still,
is because I did the thing you're not supposed to do, and I tried to psychoanalyze Horikoshi, and I looked at his behavioral patterns, and I thought he's a big enough sci-fi nerd that 42 feels like what he would pick at, like, end up landing on, because The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like one of the most famous sci-fi things of all time, and has like the big 42 meme throughout it, and so that was the entire
Well,
basis of
that
my
and
42 prediction.
I'm just
well,
gonna
that and
pretend I didn't hear
Dragon
that
Ball.
and keep MHA at a 9 out of 10. I know you're not gonna ruin it for me with
Actually,
sci-fi cringe.
I wanted to ask you this
the plan,
question.
just a Kaku.
I wanted to ask the
The
stream
main
this
thing that the main thing when I'm not grinding away at Excel spreadsheets has been the DC Absolute series. I've been enjoying it.
Oh,
It's been pretty
whoa.
cool.
Whoa.
So,
Oh my God. Okay, can I push about Absolute? Okay, so for so long
Huh?
it has like been very established roles, and even like DC has been very bumpy. So what Scott Snyder has done, and it is so fascinating. He specifically did not want to write it. For those of you that don't know, Scott Snyder wrote the introductory Batman arc for New 52, which
and Dark
is one
Knight.
of the
101,
highlights,
right?
and Dark Knight's Metal, and he did not want to write Absolute Batman because he'd already done so much Batman. He's like, I want somebody else to take over. His editor calls him one day and he's like, bro, you keep talking about how Absolute is going to like challenge these characters and force them to confront their fears. I feel like you as a writer being afraid of taking on Absolute Batman is exactly why you have to be the one to do it. And from there, he has created what I've read a lot of Batman shit. I think this is going to end up the definitive Batman story like ever made. Like it's that good.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean,
the shit he's
I
doing with
haven't.
Joker,
Yeah.
Bane, all the villains. Oh my God! But Squid,
I mean,
Aren't
continue.
they
that's how I
like
feel
all
about Wonder
basically
Woman.
monsters
I'm sorry,
now?
I'm sorry, Volk. What did you say?
Which part?
Well, you said my name, and then
I told
I
you
think
to
you're gonna
continue.
say.
I told you
Okay,
to
so
continue.
basically, the reason why I like the Absolute series is because I feel like the changes that they have made, because I was expecting changes to the story like pretty much from day one, because the Absolute series is because the Absolute universe is basically this story where this world where like evil is just inherently stronger because that's like the order of like that universe, right? And I think the reason why I'm so interested in the story is because it takes a lot of the stuff that makes Batman work and kind of like modernizes it and makes it like a little bit more like not relatable, but it's far more suited to this time. Like for example, the first arc with Black. Can
Black
I see
Mask.
the Black Mass? Okay, so one of the things that I actually like about the first arc was that okay, so it has Batman going after Black Mask, who's typically part of like the mob, like criminal section of his rogues gallery, right? But they add this detail of like he basically has like an online marketplace where you get paid to do crimes in like Bitcoin, and it's like you and it's like you literally see like over time like the city get consumed with like this frenzy for like, oh, you tap this window, you get paid this much, and you see like this like the monstrous nature of the city is you know caused by the villains, but the reason why the villains can be so powerful because of like the structure that holds them together. Like Black Mask cannot do what he does if he doesn't have, his wealth. And then you have Joker, who's basically pure Theo, if he could transform into a demon, uh, a big demon, rather than just being a human. And I think it's offering a surprisingly strong commentary on just like how uh kind of like corrosive like this uber like wealth is to a city like Gotham, and all the stuff that these people are investing into that ends up harming the city, from what Black Mask is doing with his um with his full crime syndicate, to what's going on with Mr. Freeze, to the Arc M, and everything revolving around this. Can probably guess who that belongs to. And I, I think it's very interesting how like the villains and the failure of that specific world is just merging together in this really I like how thematically cohesive it is in its commentary. Plus, I just like the changes that are made in general. You know, some of them I maybe didn't initially like as much, but when I saw it executed, I appreciated it. Yeah. Also, Bane is awesome. Like Bane is amazing. So yeah, that's like my overall thoughts without getting into too many spoilers about the series.
I think for a while, for years, Batman has been in this like shitty situation where his characterization, same for Superman, has been boiled down to like this edgy character who just beats up criminals on the street and wears a bat costume, right?
Mm.
And it was only until like Matt Reeves' Batman and then Absolute that we kind of like had a resurgence, not a resurgence, but kind of a return to who Batman truly is. And like Volk said, like this version of him, unironically may just be the definitive version. Because it brings him back to his core. He's just like it's the idea that money isn't what makes Batman. It's him as a person. It's what he's been through, who he's met, like characters that has influenced him, and his genuine desire to help people. And without spoiling, um, what happens to a huge part of like the characters around him, you really see that on stage, right? um,
Yeah.
Specifically with a certain villain, who is a killer.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. The story is a like heartbreaking tale of Bruce Wayne just wanting to return back to the past and be happy. I love it. I love it. Like that page or not page, those pages where Bruce is on, national TV and he's directing his like speech to Bane. Like, oh my god! Like, if you haven't seen it, watch the Alex Lee narration that he posted. It is perfection. And I like with how DC is currently operating, we're returning back to what makes the Trinity special, specifically also with Wonder Woman, who's been completely shafted over the years by a lot of authors like Tom King. Um, and we're
CIA
returning back
op.
to Diana. Yeah, exactly. She's Diana again. Like that's exciting. Um, but yeah, the absolute series is phenomenal,
Hold
and I
on.
can't wait for it to continue. Unlike the Marvel Ultimates, which is ending, absolute seems to stay. It will be staying for a while.
Look,
I love it.
so you mentioned Tom King, and I think that
Mm.
like I personally think that his Batman was like actually really good, but I feel like his Batman stories were way more Bruce Wayne centered than like
Yeah.
most people liked. Even though now I see people post date night and they love it. They talk about date night and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's such a good comic. That run is so fun." Da 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 da. And so I think, like, luckily, Absolute Batman is being received a lot more positively in general. So
Mhm.
good. We're starting to enjoy the humanity in our heroes more, and I do think
Mhm.
that's a great thing because when consciously or subconsciously, media and art influence you. The only debate
Yeah.
is whether or not you're self-aware about the ways you're influenced by media. If you say, "Oh yeah, I
Exactly.
know my shows don't influence," but okay, cool, you're delusional. I don't have to talk to you. So,
Mhm.
Not a serious person.
like with Tom King's Batman, there's like, so I think he had Batman for almost 100 issues, but like the first 50 issues of the run is just like building towards like Bruce and Selena getting married and all this other stuff. There's even like allusions to the fact that like they talk about the first time they met, and each of them mentions like a different rooftop and some other things. Um because of the fact that, the canon is inconsistent due to all the retcons and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like there's a part like people are upset because he gets actively depressed because she basically leaves him at the altar. But like Batman is driven by depression and trauma. Like a lot of like what makes Batman is that he's fucked up in the head, but a decent person. Like that's the
Yeah.
trick, right? He's a fucked up decent person. And so like I enjoyed seeing him be vulnerable, and I really enjoyed the 12 Angry Men homage that he did in one of the issues. For people who haven't seen 12 Angry Men, it's a classic film that is basically almost entirely a bottle episode. And it's simply like they're trying to debate on whether or not this kid stabbed a guy. And they're like, oh, well, he had a switchblade in his pocket, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously he could do it. And the guy pulls out basically the same knife. Like, yeah, nah, that doesn't mean he did it. And so the whole point is that he's this one person trying to like get this kid not put in jail. And in the case of Batman, it was Bruce Wayne keeping Victor Freeze out of jail because he realized that Selena leaving him made him do sloppier detective work, and that he put the pieces together because it was like an ice related crime. And so he was like, no, I made the pieces fit Freeze. Freeze wasn't actually the one who did it. And so like Bruce Wayne does what he does best, which is he subverts the law, basically bribes the jury, like the system, and gets himself put on the jury so that he can get Freeze acquitted. And so it's like that level of integrity is part of what makes Bruce Wayne Batman, right? Like he cares enough to like put forth the effort to make sure that society is better in whatever form that has to take, which is also what we love about My Hero and the point of the ending, right? Like Bruce Wayne is more like in some ways you could argue Bruce Wayne is more of a hero than Batman because Bruce Wayne has the foundations. Bruce Wayne is the one who makes sure every employee has a decent pension, which especially the fact that that's still canon that Wayne Tech gets pensions in 2025. Woo!
Oh my god, I'd love to work at
I might
Wayne
have
Tech.
to work
Oh
in
my god.
Gotham. I'll shit.
You know how quickly I would switch to being
you're gonna
you know how quickly I would
you're gonna
switch
have
to being,
to.
to being a technician again if it meant working at Wayne Tech? Oh my
Can I
god.
do
I don't care
remote
how bad Gotham is.
Look,
Thanks.
all I'm saying is rent in Gotham is probably like $50 for a 900 square foot bedroom bedroom apartment. I'm just saying, like,
Oh hell no. No. I'm
I
doing
could
remote work.
afford one
I'm
of
working
them.
back in
I could
Central
afford
City.
one of those like those those skyscrapers in like Manhattan, Gotham, with the type of salary I'd get in Gotham, man. That'd be
Oh
crazy.
no. And like no way, because like if there's remote work possibly, I'm working back in Central City for Gotham, or not Gotham, for Bruce Wayne Enterprises. Like fuck that.
I wouldn't mind going into Gotham for if it meant I could just
You
like
will die.
go back to
I'm
like
sorry.
All you gotta deal with is Scarecrow lacing your weed with fear toxin, and hey man, you'll be fine.
look, bro,
He's
I'm a
spreading
smoke.
it into the world to make the frogs gay. I'm not going there.
All this
start off in
Batman talk
Metropolis,
just
you know, you take
reminds
your
me of how much I
finish your
love the
shift in
Deku
Gotham, you go
costume.
back from the train, go back to Metropolis, you go back to some, some cool,
Um,
some solid, safe
I'm
place.
sorry. No, Metropolis is also fucked. Like I'm
Metropolis
not
is not.
Yeah.
Look, the problem with
Yeah,
Worlds of
that's
Metropolis is
comic
Metropolis.
like
books, especially
Brainiac,
American
okay?
comic
But
books,
if you
must
don't
never
got
be
no
peaceful.
Brainiac, but
Mhm.
listen, the problem with Metropolis is like the cosmic like events there because Superman. If the actual like crime rate with just like regular people, I could do it. I can handle
I
it.
feel like these comic book heroes are never allowed to rest, for
They're not.
better or worse.
No.
Most
That's why
Yeah,
Batman
but here's the thing. I would look. There's like tiers to it, right? Like ideally the best case scenario is I'm working Coast City where like Green Lantern is, or like Central
Go to
City where the
Flash.
Flash.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because that place, because Flash be cleaning up everything, nothing there. Like even his bad guys
I
don't kill
mean-
people; they just be robbing. Like everything
Yeah,
good.
Flash's
Okay,
villains are
I'm-
chill
I'm-
as shit.
I mean, there's a
I-
legit
I-
issue where like
listen.
all
I
the
get my
villains are
wallet.
talking to each other,
I go.
and they're like talking about like stuff, and then there's this one villain who's like, "Yo, I just stole from like Central City, or was it Keystone? It was either Central or Keystone," and all the villains turn him goes like, "What the hell did you just do?" And Flash is right there outside the door, like you are not getting away with crap in Central City
Okay,
unless you're.
but that's like tier 1, right? Flash, like Coast City or Central City, right? Either Flash. Then you have like the second tier, which is like Metropolis, because the regular crime rate isn't that high, but it's like you still got to deal with Brainiac blowing up your shit like a while, right? Then you get to
I mean,
tier
I'm
3.
not sure. I'm not sure how many of you are keeping up with like main DC. I can tell that we have absolute fans, but right now Scott is doing the last in his kind of like Dark Knight's Metal trilogy. He did the first one, which focused on Batman. He did the second. I forgot what it's called. He focused on Wonder Woman. This KO series. Have you
Yeah,
guys
it's
seen
fine.
like seen like the Homelander like is making a cameo? Yeah,
I saw
that's the
Wonder
Superman.
Woman versus Lobo.
Yeah, it's a Superman focused series. So basically,
Mhm.
in it, they're trying to become King Omega because guess what? Darkseid is like mega super fucking god now. Like he's not
He
just
absorbed.
like he's
Didn't he absorb like
Yeah.
Didn't he absorb the Spectre when he died, and then like
absorbed the Spectre, absorbed his
Yeah.
powers. He created the absolute universe. So he was always like god of DC, more or less. Now he's super mega super fucking god, which is like even worse.
Which reminds
So
me of one
they're
of my favorite Darkseid panels is the one where somebody actually kills the real Darkseid. And then it's like, yeah, the body of a dying god is about to fall and crush the multiverse.
I do like
it's
the
so
idea
Joe. We're so good.
DCKO is like a quote unquote Superman like tale, right? It's the like Volk said, it's Superman's turn, right? However, the whole basis of the tournament is that you are essentially the winner becomes like the one who must take down Darkseid, but the way to do that is very antithetical to who Superman is. And I can't wait because I forget, was it
I low-key felt like they had to shortchange us on the Wonder Woman fight. Like why? Like they just like the way they ended that.
Yeah, but that's just
Like-
Wonder Woman in mainline DC currently.
Yeah. I'm just saying I'm just saying like the issue was great. The ending is kind of. You know what? We'll say
basically all this to say that DC heroes especially do not catch a break because they're just like they're always slotted in for the next adventure.
Yeah.
Like
but back to my main idea, right? You have like I call it like the 4 tiers of cities, right? So you have like Central City, you have Coast City right at the top. Then you got like then you got Metropolis in like the second tier. Then you got like the bad places like Gotham, which is just awful. Then you get the 4th tier, which is Bloodhaven, where Nightwing, and it's like Gotham, but there's like less like super villains and more just like regular, just like rampant poverty. Like you're basically living in like $60 rent. Every day you're getting like robbed by dudes with automatics. Like who wants to live in Bloodhaven? And all your shit ran by the mob. Oh, that's awful. Like Nightwing gets less of a break than Batman because at least Batman got a Justice League or something. Like some crazy shit happening, he can call up Soups.
Nightwing has
gonna call up fucking Starfire? Come on now.
The Titans.
Bloodhaven is
Yeah,
terrible.
and also who can call up Wally West? Wally West will be there in no pun intended, a Flash. Like he has it right on speed dial. Not a pun. No, he has the Titans. Nightwing is the GOAT. We love Nightwing.
I'm just saying, Bloodhaven. I would rather Bloodhaven at least
Okay,
look.
maybe back
Yeah.
to MHA for a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
My
So
bad, OG.
well, folks, we've got Jump Festa coming up,
Yes.
and in the issue of Jump that released today, it said, and it kept things kind of general. It said, "Stay tuned for news about the future of the MHA anime."
Mhm.
Like the anime project, like overall, it said.
Mhm.
So let's place some bets. What do we think? I think we have a good idea of what maybe one of the announcements is going to be. But do we want to place any bets about maybe something extra? Me
Movie
personally,
5.
well, here's a funny thing. There are two outcomes here. It is if Studio C does the last movie, or if Studio B. Well, I shouldn't say last because I think they will continuously do them through the years. But anyway,
Oh,
if
too late.
Studio C
I just generally don't know how they're going to do any movies.
well, I mean, there's really limitless possibilities, really. But
Not really with the
It
adult
depends.
class.
Oh, okay. So with the adult,
well,
so I think the easiest way to do movies, like the easiest, like free way, like you can just get it off, is more movies like World Heroes Missions where they're traveling to other countries.
Mhm.
Two, um, you take a couple movies, you do movies like towards the end of Deku's high school. I think getting his final smash, even if like it's it should be largely peaceful, is still would be a nice thing to see. Even though nobody should be able to push Deku so high that he actually runs out of embers, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But you know, and then like as far as adults, like what I would actually like to see, and like I think the best thing that My Hero could do if they want to put out movies, because I think back to the Yonko Productions tweet where he was like, they want to do 10 My Hero movies, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Is prequel series like an All Might movie that like you could give me a movie of All Might getting to All for One. I don't care that I know, like it doesn't matter that we know he wins. It's the
Yes.
journey there, right? So any predecessor you can give me a movie with. Give me a Banjo movie. I watch that shit. You can give me like a 20-minute episode special on Shinomori. He wouldn't really fight nobody, so it's not like you can do.
I think that's possible. It's just for the immediate future, like they've kind of reset the status quo with Deku with the suit, and it's like, okay, how does his suit work? And we haven't really seen that. And I don't think in this upcoming OVA that it's a pretty open secret. I
No,
don't think
we're
we're going
not
to
gonna
see
get
much of
anything.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
We're not going to see much of it
generally,
either.
do we really need to know what the suit does when it's literally
I
just
do.
Deku?
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
for
yes,
hype
yes.
moments in Aura, we definitely effing need it.
So
Like,
we know
We need
the
all of
suit.
the
We know the
things.
suit. So we know the suit can recreate the quirks of One for All. So all the vestiges, how it recreates. We know it can recreate Black Whip to a T. The anime kind of gives us that. It's just hard light projection.
And
I'm excited. I'm excited for Gear Shift because is it like a thruster, but also part of Gear Shift was the fact that you can like apply it to other people. So is it kind of like nanotechnology where Deku can like apply parts of his suit to villains or to his like fellow heroes, and that could boost them or even slow them down.
he
Like
could
kind
even
of like
recreate. He could even recreate like other quirks too,
Yes.
like not just with one for all stuff,
And
right?
also, Armor Deku is a prototype, so it's not even
Mhm.
a perfected version of what it is. So there's so much you could do, and then the idea like the suit can be passed on to other people is like it's just one for all. Like it's so exciting, and the future is bright to see more of the suit.
It is like ironically, like symbolically, it is the completed version of not just One for All, but All for One, where it's like it is a gift given to Deku to make use of to help other people that can be, passed on to others and was brought about by hard work. But it also holds infinite possibilities without any of the baggage. But more importantly, I think this is the most important point. this is really different, like scenario wise for a film, and so I don't think like coming up with premises for movies is really that difficult for two reasons. One is the other countries thing that Aniki mentioned. Two, you can kind of have any villain you want coming over and stirring up trouble. Like you can make up any reason. They did that with Darkmight.
Mhm.
Like there was all this
But at
crazy
what
shit
point
going
does
on.
it
That was,
become nonsensical when you get that all these random strong villains are appearing,
I mean,
especially
that's
matching to the adult class 1A?
I mean, that's kind of the thing that everybody's complained about the films up to this point. I just think it's a moot argument because it's like, well, ultimately
Films
people
1 and 2
want to
had
see
perfect
that.
reasons. They weren't. There was no arguments for that.
Can
Nine
I
made sense, and
offer?
so did movie 1
I mean,
because
ultimately
Can I ask
people
a
want to
question?
see it. That's the main thing.
Can I ask the
right?
question? Would the easiest solution be the fact that we don't know how strong Armored Deku is? You also like you could still have these strikes come stated that come over that still match the same power of like Endeavor, for example. Like
Uh,
it's we have One Piece movies, for example, that don't really upset the status well, kinda, but they're non-canon. But they're still bringing in new villains that still offer some sort of threat. You don't have to have it like a big bombastic Deku must go 100% with the suit to beat. Like there are ways
Well,
to have a satisfying conclusion while also being shonen. Like
Well,
that's
Deku
true.
like
That's
reaching
true,
out
but
to a new
also
villain.
is that really how Studio Bones operate?
Yeah,
yeah,
but I'm
that's
just thinking like current Deku, his mindset, how he is gonna like approach new villains. I
yeah.
would like this new
I mean,
movie that may be coming out to have the conclusion be a more emotional
Yeah.
one, rather than
Yeah,
like
yeah.
But
Yeah, so,
like I said, I in general don't see any villain anywhere matching up to adult Bakugo or adult Shoto, let alone most of the adult kids.
I'll be honest, just say that
Because by
Cluster.
saying they match up to adult Bakugo means they match like his final fight speed, which is
Actually
already
no.
a stupid.
So
There are
there's
ways to
ways
combat
around that, like
that.
circumstantial nerfs. Like think back to what All Might said during the first training arc or the first school arc. Really, uh, you put Bakugo in a fight indoors, and he is severely nerfed.
Actually, I would argue that Cluster itself, like that, like the full body explosion, you could still, it could be like the one for all problem, right? Where like going 100% will break you. That like
Well, it
Cluster
also needs
has
to
to be used
build
at all
up.
times.
I don't know that he can just fire off cluster. Well, he
That's
actually
why
can fire off cluster stuff relatively easily, but cluster is something that ramps.
But
I think
I guess that's what I wanted to get to, Seth.
I
You're
think-
right that like the Bakugo is like people have the mindset that Bakugo is like now that he's 25,
It's also really
he can use
painful.
Cluster at all times. Yeah.
I think the more fundamental thing is like, I think what we have to keep in mind is ultimately what's stopping villains from being created is that there's no longer that overarching societal problem of people not reaching out to help. But that doesn't mean that people who are just not good people don't exist.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Right? So I think for individual film adventures, I don't think there's a whole lot to like make a sequel series unless you go really, really different. But I think like individual film adventures, I think you can squeeze out 2 more. And so the question is for this movie 5, which we're likely getting, is our Studio C doing it or our Studio B? If Studio C do it, like to put it very simply, then it will be sometime next year. If it's Studio B, those guys are so busy, you're probably not seeing that until 2027 earliest. So, and keep in mind that the gap between World Heroes Mission and Your Next to make things easier on that staff was extended. Like we can't do this again. We need extra time. So we'll see what they're announcing. We shall see.
Yeah, I hope it's not just the OVA. I think we can get a movie out of it. I think there are things that you can do
They already
that you can
mentioned
flesh out. even if there isn't an overarching villain, right? Not every conflict in a movie is rooted in a villain. I'm sure they'll dig up a villain just because it's a My Hero thing.
I'm-
Like
I mean,
heroes
you
fight
know,
villains, but
and this is the Uzuocha shipper and me partially, but I think something that would be really different, really fun would be just a movie with everybody settling in their lives, building up. Like this would take place like a few years after 431, building up to Deku no Chakra getting married. I think it would be very different and really fun to watch. Actually,
So
I would I like something
I
I want to say about that. Oh, you go ahead, Anarchy.
so Naruto did something similar to this actually. Not with Naruto the last movie, which I actually do enjoy that movie, but when Shippuden was ending, they
the last season.
they still pumped out a bunch of episodes after like the final fight. And one of the things they did was they had an arc where people were like going out of their way to get decent wedding gifts for Hinata and Naruto's wedding.
Yeah, I mean, I actually
I don't
really
need that.
I dug it so far as like it was nice to see, although that was like as far as Naruto filler went, it was definitely some of the more pleasant to watch. So that's why I liked it. I think for a film you could get more to the point though.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say, before a certain movie came out, I've always had the mindset, not mindset, like I always wanted shonen movies to break the mold of like you don't need like the bombastic style fight. And although this movie had a bombastic style fight, the Rize arc movie was kind of like an eye opener for me after watching people's reaction. Where like an Izu Osha movie, um, it can work, like it can work,
The
especially
Resident movie was so good. Honestly, that might be one of my
it
favorite
is.
anime movies made, especially for a shonen.
Mhm.
It was
Just the way
inspired
that it
by
happens to be all self-contained, that's really nice.
yeah, that
Also,
specific
the
arc
relationship between
was
Rize and
also
Denji.
yeah. Yeah,
I
it was
guess it's not
inspired by
entirely
the core
self-contained, but
series.
it's just it because the plot just resolves itself so well within the movie. Like I don't know, I'm not spoiled
Mhm.
on all the events on Chainsaw Man like going forward, but this movie
Mhm.
is impressive because it manages to, for the most part, stand alone. Like once you know like the general premise of Chainsaw Man, going into the Resident movie was really easy.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I had fun.
Listen, I think continuing the trend of like Deku having like a movie dedicated to himself and another character, or share the spotlight, right? It's about time for Uraraka. Like Deku All Might, Two Heroes, the second movie, Heroes Rising, Deku Bakugo, obviously the third movie, Deku Rodi, but you also have like the spotlight for the origin trio, um, and then obviously your next is straight up just a trio. I'm selfish. I just want Izuwacha.
I know you're selfish, mother. I remember that All's Justice thing. You were saying you wanted 9 Dekus. I
Yes,
thought you were
yes.
the most selfish person in the world.
Yeah, I'm
Out here,
sorry.
I'm fighting
My
for
greed
crumbs for
sickens
my
you.
character, and you want 9 of yours.
Listen, my greed
Selfish.
sickens you. My greed sickens you. That's okay. Uh,
It does
but
sicken me
yeah.
because Redestro was not in the final cut. I am sick.
Oh, wait.
If Horikoshi knows ball with any movie in the future, we get a Hulkbuster version for Deku.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Also, I just want to say, because you mentioned Reed Destro, and one of the things that unfortunately I haven't seen any like anime onlys complain about it, but like, so this is an NBA complaint that this is like a real complaint that they like actually fucked up. When Reed Destro goes to hit Shigaraki with Burden in the anime, Shigaraki like touches Reed Destro's finger to stop the attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
And the manga is
wrong.
nothing.
Yeah,
That
because
is objectively wrong. What he
touches
did
Burden.
is that he destroys Burden, and the point of that is that it sets up Deku losing his arms in the fucking like spirit verse because Shigaraki decayed a concept. He was gonna get hit with a ball of stress and said, "No, Nigga said I can decay your feelings.
Sorry. My hand is raised to the teacher. Um,
I will acknowledge
I
it.
wanna.
What may I say?
Oh, you're not the teacher in this instant. It's Honor-K.
What's up?
How dare
In
you?
that moment, right? In that moment, where Shigaraki decays Burden,
Mhm.
although I would, that's a good point. Is it not just decaying energy?
Even then, it's like a
It's
concept.
destroying concept.
Like, right? It's like it's not physical mass is the point. Like what he's decaying goes beyond just something physical. It is
Okay.
now transcending beyond it. Like that's the point. Is that he has unlocked
Okay.
decay to such a level that he can decay concepts.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
also
Okay.
why, like, because like, and this is what makes the death battle thing even funnier, right? Is that people
Yeah.
are like, oh, Shigaraki versus Mahito. Eventually, like, they still have him win, but because he can decay concepts, Mahito was never actually a problem. All he had to do was
I
perceive him. That's it.
I felt very disappointed in the community when people were like downplaying Shigaraki. You don't even have to bring up the Predestro one. It's how like people clearly saw how Shigaraki decayed Deku's arms in the Vestige realm and never brought that up.
Yeah, like
To the point people were like shocked. They were like, "Oh my god, never thought of this." It's what I wanted
that's
to.
part of why though. If he had properly decayed Burden like he was supposed to, people would have had these conversations in their head all the way back in season 5. Fuck the production issues. Fuck the fact that they swapped the stuff around. That's the thing that Bones fucked
That's
up
the
that
real
season.
issue.
That is the real thing they fucked up. I don't give a shit about any of that other stuff. I care about the fact they fucked that up.
Shigaraki downscale.
Like here's the thing. I have empathy towards everything. As far as like their production cycles, because again, that's COVID, that's all that other stuff. Like even switching the order, possibly a decision made by a production committee, not even the studio themselves. Whatever. Having him touch his finger, like just a single finger, it was like, and like a small crack appeared on Redestro's fingers, and that's what. No, that's not how it went. Yes, technically Shigaraki could decay a Kamehameha wave. That's the point that I'm making. Like, what?
Etiquette, just wait for like 10, 12 years from now, after like James Gunn's DCU is over. He will beeline straight to MHA just to do My Villain Academia. Trust me. Trust me.
So yeah, that is like the craziest, most random thing that nobody ever addresses in our fandom, and it blows my mind. That's the real fuck up, bro. That was foreshadowing for him being able to decay Deku's arms inside of the Vestige Realm.
If this fandom was more like JJK's or One Piece, that would actually be more of a point of
If this
contention.
fandom was more like JJK's
I
or One
actually
Piece's,
never
I would probably
even
have 200K
noticed or thought about it.
Like,
no, I don't. I need this with total respect to the My Villain Academia arc because it's good. But to me, my biggest issue was that it was entirely 100% predictable. There was nothing about that arc that was a surprise to me, save for the backstories, perhaps, of the characters. But even that was like I was expecting that because we had gone so long without villain focus. That's like okay, we're gonna get their backstories and then they're gonna get like rich and powerful. That's
okay,
what
I
happened.
mean,
Like, I'm
so-
sorry. There's
so-
no
fair,
thing
most of my heroes
surprising.
are
I
South
get what you're
Villain.
saying, and I agree. I think that like as soon as we got the title My Villain Academia, your brain should have gone, villains are leveling up. This arc is about the league leveling up. Got it. Okay. So
Yes.
by the end of this arc, they're gonna
there
be. So like, yeah, that arc is more about the journey than the final destination, right?
Yeah, but you know what? But still, it was really good. Like again, I was still surprised with how good it was, just how strong especially Shigaraki. Shigaraki really got to be the highlight of that.
Can I ask a question?
You're
Speaking of My Villain Academia, and obviously we're talking about the finale, I've seen a lot of people bring this up. I'm pretty sure it was mentioned in one of the streams before, how like looking back, my villain is not ruined. Do people still agree with that?
I don't.
ruined.
What do you
as in,
mean?
like,
What do you mean?
yeah, what do you mean by ruined?
So hold on,
the
wait.
argument was
Because I think I've seen this argument before, Thomas, and I think I've seen people basically kind of say, My Villain Academia is ruined because of All for One's betrayal, because Shigaraki gets usurped. And I don't agree with that because the point of My Villain Academia was like Shigaraki leveling up and becoming a better villain in his own right and becoming ready for like the next step. So what it actually does is add a layer of nuance to like Ujiko asking him, "Are you sure you need more power?"
Mhm.
Because the thing that I find fascinating about Ujiko asking that question is, what the fuck does Ujiko do if he says no?
Yeah.
Oh, All for One's not getting a new body from him. That plan's scrapped.
It's
Like,
Ujiko scrambling to kind of to change the course of Shigaraki's decision, where
and
it's like he'll
so,
always return back to that point where he needs power.
and then, like, I feel like people who feel like it's ruined don't want to acknowledge that we still got twice his backstory, which fleshed out and made a
Mhm.
lot of sense and made his death in POW an actual tragedy. That's where we got a bit more of Toga's backstory. Uh, we got a little extra context on Spinner. It was kind of set up like a throwaway, but we also met the Creature Rejection Clan during that section of the story. Like, there's so much lore in My Villain Academia that even if you don't like Shigaraki's character direction, it's insane. Because like we got information on their civil war with Redestro and the origin of Destro and the uprising there. Uh, so it's kind of like I don't understand dismissing the whole like the totality of the arc for because AFO betrayed him, especially when AFO. Okay, hold on. Like my girl needs some help. I'll be
No,
back.
you're fine.
I'll continue. I'll give mine, but I think as a whole, I don't think you can say My Villain Academia as a whole arc was ruined. I can say you can say some aspects of the arc were lessened through deep like future arcs. Like if you think the Meta Liberation Army part was completely ruined later on, I think that's valid. But I didn't say you can say the entire arc was like ruined
Yeah.
entirely. I just don't think you can say that with everything. I think it's just a different direction than you originally thought, and that's the thing with the reading is you
I
just need to be more open minded with a lot of
Mhm.
directions.
I think the Meta Liberation Army were not used as fully as they could have been
Yes,
because
they could've.
really
I agree.
I think they're used more so to like step into All for One enacting his scheme rather than being their own faction fully because like they kind of more or less just collapse after
Yeah, they
the
immediately get
POW.
off screened in the war.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
it's kind of frustrating because it's like I'm not reading My Hero Academia for. I mean, the villains are important, but we're talking about like this new faction, the subset, the Liberation War, like the Liberation Army, I should say. We don't. It's like on one hand, I'm reading it, so I want to care about most of the characters involved, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, how much can we bog ourselves down with this meta liberation army as well on top of it? Like when I think about how much Horikoshi was able to tie together and wrap up at the end, I'm like, I don't really I don't really care to see the liberation army being brought in
I,
at the
I
end
mean
that in that
Well,
it's
way.
it's
I don't think they
it's
need to be
But
brought
at the
in.
same time, well, no, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? And I have the same issue with actually Overhaul and his henchmen. Less Overhaul himself, but more of his henchmen. A lot of them are just goons that don't really matter,
Yes, yes.
aside from being
uh,
just obstacles. So it's like I would
I
like every villain to be
Yeah.
handled or to be well written, but I also know that you know what we kind of got to get things moving.
Well,
So
I would
I,
argue that
I,
even in the final war, there was a perfect opportunity to flesh out the Meta Liberation Army just a little bit more. You don't even need to have like 10 chapters or like 5 chapters, just 2 more chapters. And that was Mina versus the gas mask guy. We still don't know his name. And he was set up for her entire arc. And he was defeated by Maki in one panel. And then the spider guy. Like all you needed is 2 more chapters, and it would have felt a little more impactful for the Meta
it's
Liberation.
that's funny that
honestly
you mentioned that.
it's honestly the most like comic book Prime Syndicate thing in the entire series. It's like it feels like something like you would see in the big two comics that would be like its own big arc of like dealing with this whole big faction, like 109, what was it, 109,000, 110,000,
Yeah, something
like
around
sleeper
that.
agents all over the country. It's fucking crazy, man. Like that's big.
Yeah.
It's
And
huge.
so
So
like
it's like that is such a difficult thing to even approach, and yet it's entirely necessary too for the story. Like you can't get rid of that. Like that's so it's like
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about like the I have mixed feelings about them. I
yeah,
don't want them to be too goonish, but they are
well,
in fact.
I
yeah.
will say,
Yeah.
Seth, to your point though, on Overhaul's goons, I actually think they work better the way they are, because I think it's more so to build Overhaul and to see how much he's willing to just see them as disposable and more as like less of people. I think that actually works better for
That's true.
Overhaul compared to like the
That is
meddling.
actually a really interesting aspect of the Overhaul arc is how devoted they are to Chisaki. Like how much because Chisaki was able to find use for them, they were given purpose. But Chisaki really was just using them. Like even and I really like this. When Chisaki brings up Eri, her name is written with the letters for tool in Japanese. So no, throughout the entire thing, that's just how he sees people, as tools, as means to an end. But
I mean,
to the people, that gives them purpose. So that was a really interesting dynamic. So I guess to your point, that is a little that does cut in favor of them somewhat,
I
or
think we
more, at
kind of
least
have
more.
to. I think we have to appreciate that, like MHA world is like just like it is filled with like basically numerous Al Qaedas with like superpowers, like Meta Liberation Army, Humor
Yeah, having
Eyes,
superpowers will do that.
yeah, the Galini family. So it's like, I mean, I feel like Japan's pretty much solved its issues, but like, I guess if you want to do more in the future, there's like so much in the world outside of that, like the triads from China, right?
Yeah.
Like even
No, now
like
is not a good time to bring up China at all. No, we're not touching China for various reasons.
I feel like my hero should avoid Attack on China.
We like
That's true. That's
NHA
true.
already got banned in China without even directly mentioning China. Like no, like
yeah.
we cannot touch upon that directly at all, especially unfortunately in the current environment.
I guess American Mafia. Well, there are so many
Yeah.
different mafias in America.
Oh my
Jesus.
god! Oh my god! There's so much you could tackle with manga.
So I know I missed
Oh,
part of this because I was parenting, but
Good job.
what, how did we get onto like the mafias and mobs around the world? Just so I'm caught up.
Well,
Oh,
because
we
we were
somehow
talking
went
about
from the
the
PLW to Overhaul, and then
Yeah.
from Overhaul being a gang, and then somehow from there we got to like, okay, but what more can we do with the world? Well, there's other crime gangs in the world,
Yeah.
and we've talked about the movie stuff, and so yeah, you can always, I guess, import some kind of gang from elsewhere.
Oh, also random side thing, Seth, because I wanted to say it's funny how like
Yeah.
we were just talking about like how the Overhaul gang don't feel like people, but the one member of his gang who does feel like a person is Rappa, the one guy who doesn't give a shit about Overhaul.
Yeah, because Rappa
So-
literally only joins because he got his ass whooped.
I miss Rappa. I want him to return in a.
Well, he's in the video
movie.
game.
Yeah, but that's not
It's
enough.
it's actually really funny. In Ultra Impact, a lot of the filler stories for the League of Villains, you end up seeing the Paranormal Liberation Army more there than in the main manga at this point.
That's actually insane.
It's
Yeah.
funny. Well, that's just the paranormal people. They're actually not that big of a presence in the manga. They are in terms of numbers, but like as characters, not as much. To be fair, though, you only see like Overhaul, Skeptic. Oh no, excuse me, not Overhaul. Redestro, Skeptic, and Getten. Yeah.
Getten's the
Curious
one
is
member I
unfortunately
wish
dead.
stayed after MVA just because of his added Himmer lore.
Yeah. No, he yeah. The cast bloat being what it is, unfortunately, but MHA doesn't need more characters, and yet the world is so big that you can have them.
Because
It
I
kind of
don't know. I
wants
feel like
them.
it would have been it could have been a good way to get Rey more into the story. Shockingly, is just bring more of her side of the family and just show like how did one of Rey's family become such a villain that got adopted by Redestro of all people? And was it more selling, to build more quirk marriages and show how that's an issue type shit?
Also, I'm gonna say like might makes right. There's always assholes, right? Like
Yeah.
there's always assholes. So like the might makes right. Eventually, some 25-year-old is gonna try Deku, or some 25-year-old is gonna try Bakugo. They're gonna be way older, but somebody's gonna try them. You know, like people always want to test the waters. I bet they not that strong. I bet humans have short memories. Like people play stupid games willingly. And let's be real, like eventually somebody else is gonna have a star and stripe level quirk. And if that star and stripe level quirk doesn't get the proper support fostering, or let's say, like we talked about with like the segregation thing. Let's say Gatan, or somebody who was like in Gatan's branch of the MLA or whatever, somebody with that ideology has kids, because it's not like we found every single MLA member 100% guaranteed for sure. We make it sound like they caught like everybody, but realistically no. And like even the war shows that they didn't catch everybody. The reality is that like, also let's be real here. There's some people at the MLA that the second Cementos opened that fucking mansion up, they were like,
I'm out of here.
like, let's just be honest about that, right? Like, think about this. You're here for liberation and freedom.
This is actually insane. Like an actually insanely powerful character. And I'm not just talking about this because I play Ultra Rumble, in which he is a powerful character. Just
Cementos
so
pisses me off.
throwing cement around, just the way he does, being able to tear it apart, entire buildings, is just so crazy.
Yeah, so it's
It's
like
awesome.
you see that happening. You see Mount Lady coming with him, and you're like, you might be loyal to the cause, but you also might be loyal to your life. I don't know. So
the combo
the moment
is so
I see
good.
Headshot take
Making a
15
giant
advisors
cement
out, I'm out.
I still don't understand how Cementos like made those constructs, right, against UA, and like made the slides and did not think, oh yeah, that's gonna hurt.
hey,
Like everyone going down is gonna have massive arse burns.
well,
Maybe they're made out of cement.
Is that a property of cement?
As a baby butt, man.
Oh yeah,
Well,
you
it's just cement.
ever scrape yourself on cement? Like I used to have a scar on my right shoulder from a time my skateboard hit like a twig or something and like shot me off of it.
True. I've never slid down a cement slide. But I feel
Yeah.
like you could, in fact, if it was finely, what's the word?
You'd have to do a lot. Like
I don't know. Just
like
You gotta sand the fuck out of that.
yeah, but theoretically, the man whose power is to control cement could do that.
I guess in theory, yeah.
Theoretically, you can make a slope that doesn't chafe.
But I mean, the level of, I mean, I guess like for the sanding effect, that's like molecular, like nice even, like shape. So yeah, but I mean, it's possible. But yeah, like I said, like so you have like the potential for offshoots of cults and stuff to form. Also, Japan has a cult problem that's part of the, because like, so this is an interesting thing that I think Japan kind of highlights, is that like when people say that people are kind of always looking for a form of spirituality of some kind, even if they're not like religious, because fundamentally, and I've talked about this, I think I specifically talked about this in my history academia, but Japan's like religious culture was annihilated by the U.S. Like, you have to understand that, ancient Egypt, people always talk about like, oh, the pharaoh was the child of Ra, and so like they're blessed. You have to understand that like that level, like that kind of like the emperor is descended from God and like has God's blessing and is like directly tied to God, was a part of Japan's belief structure in the 40s. The thing that made them stop doing that was the emperor going, shit, bro, after them nukes, maybe I'm not God. He, like the same person who was leading Japan going into World War II, when they partnered with the Axis, being Russia and Germany, was the same man leading them after World War II. He abdicated godhood, not the role of emperor. And so when he abdicated godhood and said, "Yeah, I'm not a god," like people's religious levels plummeted for a moment. And then you started having cults pop up like left and right and just different religious extreme groups. Like they didn't magically become Christian, like because even though the U.S. did rewrite their constitution and do a whole bunch of other stuff, like I don't know if the people who follow me on Twitter might have seen me talk about that a little bit this week. I was like, oh yeah, they did do this. Kind of cool to see somebody talking about this finally. Oh yeah, Italy. You're right, Italy. Sorry. Well, actually, Russia was on the side of Germany for a while, and then Hitler betrayed them. So that too. But try not to sneeze. But like they have a cult prop to the extent that like when you see shows and like, oh, we want to start an occult club, and then like the teachers are like, you can't have an occult club. That's why. Like they have to hand out flyers and stuff that are like, please don't end up getting sucked into a cult. Because I believe the idiom is Japanese are born Shinto, marry Christian, and die Buddhist. Is how they describe their connection with religion now. They just like kind of pick and choose. That's why like Christmas episodes are a thing in Japan. They just go to KFC. Like so when you look at all those layers of kind of like the cult, all of it, you realize there's so much going on, and
it just shows you how like so much of like the reactions to like not just this series but manga in general is people looking at essentially a snapshot of Japan, which is like their impression of it now.
Yep.
Very tourist dependent. Oh, they make cars. Oh, that's sugoi, konnichiwa, all that. They don't understand the full timeline of it. In fact, a lot of people don't even understand the full timeline of their own countries past like the past 30 years. Past 30 years. So I'm not expecting everybody to know that, right? But like it's like to get the full proper context of, well, why are things this way? Why does Japan have such a fascination with like occult stuff? You've said it before. Like Exorcist series are basically their version of superheroes in terms of popularity. It's like it's just how it is.
Like like Jump puts out one every 6 months. They try it.
Yep.
Like every 6 months. Like New Way's Exorcist is still running. Yoshi's Exorcist is running. I guarantee you next year we're gonna get another fucking Exorcist series. Like I haven't even read a chapter of Gonorrhea Egg. It looks like it's an Exorcist series. It might not be.
Dan to Dan like is technically half sci-fi, but let's face it, that's really an Exorcist series.
Yeah, it's a half.
I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen is right there.
Yep. Like.
Yep.
They can't not do it.
Even Chainsaw Man is sort of Exorcist influenced.
Yes, Chainsaw Man is like a modernization of it.
That's true.
Was also basically an Exorcist series. Like, even though I will say that as much as I'm like, oh yeah, there's an Exorcist series out here, there was one that I really wish had like survived, and I can tell that like somebody at Jump felt the same way because it got a bonus chapter 6 months after it ended. And that was Hellward and Higuma. I actually really liked that one. It came out around 2019. Got like 20 chapters, I want to say. But that one I actually enjoyed. And yes, the Suguru and Satoru outside of KFC Christian love story, Thomas, that's a sentence.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's true.
I don't know if I'm better or worse for having read it, but sentence.
That's why I typed it in. You have to read it. I didn't know when to say it too.
Please do not elaborate.
There's a reason why they bickered outside of KFC.
So, I mean, I am definitely down for the OVA to be Aries focused. I just kind of want 431 fully animated.
No. So my idea is that 431 is the OVA, but the end credit scene is the Airy extra chapter. where you end if My Hero doesn't get any content after, which I severely doubt, the perfect way to cap off the series is that panel of Deku flying to the sky with like that smile when he's on TV. And
I
you
mean,
know,
here's the funny thing
that.
though. Here's the funny thing though. That technically is not the last panel.
Oh
Last
no,
panel
I
is
meant like
actually Eri.
yeah, that's why. Sorry, I think I got cut off. Not by you, but like my Discord is lagging. But yeah, it ends with Deku smiling and then Eri saying, "I'll do my best," which I think is
Alright.
perfect. Is the perfect
Yeah.
ending to the series. Which actually I want to bring this up because I don't think it has been talked about. But the dub of Izuku Midoriya Rising is very contentious right now. Mostly because it's great that what was it? You got this. That's great. Oh my
Yeah,
god! And then Bakugo
the
saying kick his ass. Like, oh, the dub is
the
getting
the dub is its own unique thing. I don't know why they chose to make it that, but what's done is done.
I'm gonna say My Hero's dub is generally pretty good.
Mhm.
It's just every now and then you make a localization change or you tweak a line because you're like, okay, I want to fit like, because like if I'm honest, like ganbare, like do your best, do your best. English speakers don't talk like that. Like that isn't actually like an English phrase. Like if you think about it, how often do you hear people go like do your best? Like they're like good luck, break a leg, but like do your best or
I hear a lot of people say do your best or you can do it. I
you
think
can
the
do it.
idea, right?
Yes, do your best.
You
I
can
think
do
the
it is probably the best overall
Yeah.
thing you can do if you had to pick a single phrase to
So
boil
for a
Gambare down to. Like I think
Can
you can do it works the best
Yeah.
because it fits most situations. But do your best though still has there's a bit more oomph
So
to
my
that
issue
one.
with that, right? My issue with that, right, is that I do acknowledge, like in English for us, right? We don't like have that. So asking, it's the problem with the Urarako part, right? Where it's like, it's kind of cute. Which by the way, it's canonical in the dub that Ida also thinks Deku's cute.
Yeah.
But for that, it's like I don't like people be like, oh, but like you can't expect English audiences to know like the proper translation. Number one, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Number two, you could add a subtitle like most anime does when they translate text. There's just ways to go about this. I think there's no excuse. I get it. I understand the argument, or not argument, but the way to justify it. I just think it's kind of shocking that the thematical name of Deku, Dekeru, linked to Gambare, like you can still do it in the dub.
Yeah.
And that doesn't say that it was right. I just want to acknowledge that like I get how they chose
Yeah, I get
something
it.
different.
I just think same.
Yeah.
I think in this case, I think this show did kind of benefit from the Japanese ahead of the English for this season because I think getting that specific meaning was out there first. Like I think that was like the truest version of the scene. As far as the OVA goes again, I'm kind of split about what the last shot should be because on the one hand, like the Eri chapter, lovely little bonus. I have this fear though that if you slot that like if you slot that and put it next to 431, which is like the actual full ending of like the main manga, and you essentially slot something next to it that is an extra like right after it, I feel like that does take a little bit away from the significance of like ending on the handhold because
So
I really like
would you flip
that
it?
as like the final shot of. Could you flip it?
Yeah. Like have the Eri chapter at the beginning, and then you play the intro, for example, and then you go into the contents of 431.
That could be good. That could work actually. That could work. Yeah.
I don't know if it does. I'm gonna there are things that I'm just gonna choose to leave up to Bone's story about, but I do think we do see both of those animated, whether it's in the OVA or in the movie.
I mean, the thing with the Eri thing, the Eri chapter,
hoping that I'm not jinxing that we're getting a movie.
that could be
I
very
want
short.
the movie really badly.
I mean, they've done 3-minute OVAs before. That could be pretty short. The Eri thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
So like, I don't want it overriding the significance of that final scene. Not just like, oh, is what is canon. It's like, well, no, it's not just that. It's these two people who go the entire series constantly sacrificing, saying, you know what? It's time to let that go.
It's time
And
to
focus on
actually
ourselves.
have some joy in my life, like take pleasure
Yeah.
from my life. And the thing is that and I'm gonna say this, and I think it's especially poignant because, quite frankly, I think every single one of you is younger than me. I think so. Seth, are you over the age of 30? I think you're all in your 20s. I think you all are. But one of the things
Yeah.
that I'll say that, like, because we live in a Western society and we have like patriarchal norms and right? Most men that I know that are decent men care a lot about duty. What we are supposed to do, who we are supposed to be, what we're like, how we're supposed to be there for people. And I really like the fact that, like, there's nothing wrong with Naruto becoming Hokage and taking on all these responsibilities and these duties. I do like the fact that in Boruto, much to some people's chagrin, Naruto has some gripes with, the amount of paperwork and the stress load and all that other good stuff. But it's very important for a Shonen Jump series that's like centered on guys that a lot of guys are going to read or watch to know that they are more important than their duty. Their value is more than their responsibilities, and like taking that time for your joy is like the real reason you work, right? Like, if my job offers me overtime or a project that I can make extra money for, a lot of times I will take it.
Yeah.
But I also will never be the guy who's going to be at work so much that my daughter doesn't know me. I can't do, like, I want to, like, there's like positions in my company where you travel, you go on site and you help people learn the installation of the product. I would love to do that position. But what I'd really rather do is have like a hybrid model, even though I wouldn't get paid as much, where I still get sent on site sometimes because I still want to travel, help the product get implemented, blah blah blah. But I don't want to feel like um which is what would happen if I did the other position, where Monday through Thursday I am not home. I'm in another state, I'm in another city, dealing with stuff, and then I don't get home until every Thursday night. I'm flying out every Monday and coming back, flying back home Thursday. And I don't want 4 out of 7 days for my daughter to feel like she has a part-time parent every week. And so I just think that, especially because, saying this because I'm getting close to the wrap up here, uh, it's kind of like an extremely healthy message. And I think it's great, like, even though I'm talking about like from the perspective of men, that like, because I'm a guy, I'm not a woman. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know all the things that women go through. But I think that like a lot of women also place their responsibilities in some areas over their happiness. So having a girl and a guy do good things for other people, but highlight that, yeah, guys still need to do good things for yourselves and you care about yourselves, is actually an extremely important, like, note to end a superhero story on. Don't be so caught up in saving others that you cannot save yourself. And I think that's a great final note, especially because, well, like Thomas, who started the series at 16 and then become 24 and maybe becoming an adult,
14.
having that message in that timeline is really fucking good. Because your 20s, especially, is this time period where you need to accumulate wealth. You got to try to build money. You got to try to do this. It's very easy to just drown in handling everything you're supposed to do and neglect you. So, and it's ironic too because Horikoshi himself cannot do this. Like, the series ending forced him to do it. We don't get a sketch every week from Horikoshi because he doesn't feel obligated by that duty. So it's like he wrote the answer to one of his struggles in the final page of the manga. So like, cool, you didn't give us all the answers on like a government system to fix everything. Da, 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 da. That is perfectly fine by me because you still gave people an answer to being better people, both in actively choosing to help others and making sure to take care of yourself in the process. Those two lessons alone can do a whole lot for society if people really try to like live by it. So in a way, he did give you an answer, not the answer you want. It's just the only answer he can give you, which is do the part that you can to make this world better. And I think that's beautiful. I'm gonna go around the horn, start wrapping up. Starting with you, Coyote. Final thoughts on the finale, and we probably will end up coming together as soon as that OVA drops, so you don't have to like give your final thoughts on the series as a whole. But
Oh, I mean, as a finale for the My Hero Academia, I do believe that, general thoughts aside on the series, I do think that as an impact, there is no way you can deny that it was a great finale. Like, I think as a series, if you're able to get anyone to cry over it or get anyone to be very emotional, I think you've done a very good job in conveying that what you wanted to tell for your series and getting people to be emotional about it. Whether or not like you can get me to cry is a different story. I don't really cry over fucking things. I laugh at them. I thought Deck losing his corp was the funniest thing in the world. People thought it was sad. You're not gonna get everyone to cry.
hey, I'm gonna be
But
real.
that's just
I was in that spot at one point in life, so I get it.
hey. But that's just how life is. Whether no, Thomas. Deku deserves it. But like I said, whether or not you can get someone to cry or not, it doesn't matter. You can't get everyone to convey the emotion you want. But what matters is you got most of the people to do it. And that's what My Hero did. It got most of the people to feel genuinely upset that the series is gone. That they feel a void in their whole heart. And they were actually generally satisfied with the ending of My Hero Academia. So I think that as a whole is very good for My Hero Academia. I don't think most people coming out of it will look back on My Hero negatively. I think they'll just look at it as, damn, I wish we got more. And I think that's a good thing for My Hero Academia is people wanting and longing for more. Because maybe there is something that can come from it in the future. Maybe some people pick up, let's say, My Hero Academia, a prequel series made by All Might or some shit. Maybe that can happen. And I'm glad people will be more optimistic to go into that series after a good ending for My Hero Academia. So that's all I can really say for My Hero.
Thomas.
Hello. I think I never got to like talk about the episode. There were a few faults. I do think the unfortunate part about being on what for Bones is the schedule. No matter how short of a season this is, it's gonna have its flaws. Um, However, did they bother me? No. The it made me laugh seeing Bakugo's ugly face be ugly. At times that was great. In terms of like the episode itself, it was perfect to me, like from top to bottom. Um, like I said earlier, I don't think I've cried this much watching a episode for like 24 minutes straight. It's perfect, and I also love, and like this ties into the idea that like anime onlys kind of get it. It's been such a blast watching Twitter's reaction to the finale, but also YouTubers. To the point I'm giddy looking for your boy Roshi's response and a few others. Uh, this series is special. I don't think there'll be another series that will top it for me. I know for a fact it's not ending. The central story is it's done. But sequels, prequels, OVAs, movies, like the future is bright. However, if we don't get anything like that and Toho decides we won't milk it, that's fine. It went out on a high note. That being said, 431 is important. It is kind of it's so integral to 430 that you can't have one without the other to me. For example, Shoto's arc, it's not complete yet. It did not end with Shoto in 430 being kind to to the youth. It ended with him accepting that there's more to him that he wants to find. Like he's reaching that like who he wants to be, and I think it's beautiful. But also Deku Uraraka's arcs aren't finished either. Their development isn't done, and that's exciting. But yeah, overall, love the series. Love Deku, Michael, for real, the greatest hero. I also love that people are showering the fact that people are showering him with so much love and support. Like all the memes of like Deku being like Glaze, like I forget the voiceover, but it's like people it's like a something like oh recounting how good Deku is. And even like the dispatch videos where like how Deku can be like the best dispatch is great. So we kind of have this like kind of apology from the community towards the series. You're gonna have people who are gonna hate, and that's inevitable. But I like Coyote said, if the series, like, I don't think a series is bad, um, if it can like evoke so much emotion, and just the public outcry about not outcry, but like their emotional response to it is touching. Hopefully, for a lot of people, there'll be another series that kind of come along and kind of do what My Hero did for them. That'd be beautiful. But until then, just keep looking for it. I want to say thank you to everyone for having me in the streams. Though it's not the end, it's been a fantastic ride. Like hop into them every now and again, despite how busy life has been recently. But yeah, like Deku, just keep going beyond. Keep following your dreams. Who knows? Maybe you'll have your Deku Sensei moment. But yeah, thank you so much. Stay safe.
All right, Seth.
Hi guys. Well, of course, and it's been a pleasure to be able to chat about MHA with everyone. I am so thankful for this opportunity. And again, I always say this, but I'm very thankful. Thank you, Anaki, for having me on. Wow. MHA is special to me. I was already an adult when MHA started. I'm about Anaki's age, I think. I'm not comparing it directly. I was already well into an adult. I'm like, okay, all my favorites. I already have all my favorites. I wasn't expecting to run into another series that I would treasure the way I treasure MHA, but I hold it up there in my heart with a lot of my childhood favorites, and I think MHA is really special in how it's able to appeal to both I guess both the inner child, but also as an adult who is still trying to look forward to the future. MHA is a breath of fresh air in the media environment. And I feel my feelings towards the ending. It's interesting. I think that to me, and I think other people echo it too. It feels weird to say that MHA is over. I think that's just the way that the author. I think the author was able to write a fairly unique ending because all these people, they still have their lives going on. They still are facing new things. Every character is finding more of themselves, and there's still more that everyone kind of wants to see. Like we saw with the OVA, how I love that Shoto's arc completes there as he's discovering more of himself beyond just being a hero. That's great. I love what we see from Bakugo. Bakugo's journey is probably the most dramatic and thoroughly completed character arc I've seen in a while, especially in shonen. But like, wow. So I seeing more from him would be great too, and of course seeing more of Deku and Uraraka, how what their relationship might look like, for all kinds of things. Where I'm like, wow, I want to see more of MHA. We saw a little bit with the end of during the credit roll scene. That was really nice. I'm so glad that the anime was able to incorporate some of what we saw at the exhibition art that Horikoshi drew. I think that was really well done and tasteful. I think the highlight on it was unironically, I know I'm a Tokoyami glazer, but Tokoyami teaming up with Shinso is just insanely cool aura farming. That was so
Fire,
awesome.
fire
It
shot.
is it is such an incredible and striking shot. It is so cool. You could, if you want a movie idea, just start it there. Start it there. They're trying to bust some underground organization, and then just it spills over out into the public kind of thing. It's like, just start there, please. I'm begging. It's so cool. Yeah, no, that, but even the more humble stuff, like it's entertaining seeing how Sero is like everyone's friendly neighborhood, not Spider-Man, and how Mineta is not. He's just not. Other things too, really wholesome with Jiro and Kaminari. Seeing their it's interesting. The anime seems to lean into Kamijiro a little bit harder than Horikoshi does, because Momo is actually not in the picture. She is clearly very important in her own right, but I just thought it was it's like the phantom ship. I don't know what is real between those three, but I'm entertained by it nonetheless. I want to see more from them. A lot of the ending just has me wanting more, and I think that's great. It's in a good way, because like, how do I put it? If something is too satisfying, it's like, all right, it's done. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm good. That's kind of sad, right? To have something end and then just be like, all right, it's over, it's gone, and I don't care to see more. But with MHA, I do, but I do in a way that's also not like unsatisfied with what we got. That's a really weird balance to strike, and I'm not sure I've ever had that before, where it's like, oh yeah, I'd totally see more of it, but also I was already really satisfied with what we got, so I'm not really sure. It's like, so yeah, gosh, I don't know where to begin other than just say I'm so thankful for both everyone here and of course to My Hero Academia. I am very happy that I get to live the rest of my life thinking back fondly on yet another incredible series.
I appreciate that, Seth. Bulk, you want to bring us home?
Yeah, I think I really liked all the things you guys said. I guess you're close as like just noting about different parts of the series, and even if like there were things you either thought were funny out of context or didn't land right, you also recognize the overall impact. Even even if it like maybe it's more for some than others. I really like what you said, Seth, about how Horikoshi made a unique ending. He really did. And he did it by following up on what he has always done in this series, and he shows that life is a continuous, ever evolving process with or without a specific, with or without specific people. Life goes on. You saw that most prominently, like towards the end of the series, where like there's like this big crazy battle going on, but there's still people going to work. There are still people like at home, hanging out, having dinner, talking to friends. And, like it was an interesting juxtaposition, and that's carried on into the future with everybody just getting to live their lives. And it's like it's the idea that it calls attention specifically because there is a meta aspect to MHA we've talked about many times, but it addresses that the story of a specific conflict is not the story of life or the world overall. And you can't let that cloud your vision. There is your story as a regular human being who's, enjoying interior decoration, crafting like specific, Tupperware, plates, cutlery, or you're trying to find like a protege who's you're going to polish and hone to being better. You can be somebody who's finally ready to settle down and find love and become and have a more like have a different way of giving to another person where presumably Deku and Ochako are going to build a life together over the course of many years, spending more time with each other. And, when it is time for them to raise their kid, that will be that ultimate form of passing on care and kind of crystallizing everything that happened. But as far as the episode went, it very much felt like the perfected and enhanced version of 430 that Horikoshi wanted to do, but he was not able to. And it just required expansions on specific parts. I love the graduation scene. That was new. Awesome. I loved all the little inserts down here and there, more of a look at Ochako's quirk counseling, a bit more insight into what Deku's life as a teacher is. You've seen his previous classes that he's been getting, experienced at this. Of course, Aizawa is still kind of, bearing down on him, but like he's more or less an equal among the faculty, and he is the greatest hero. And it's not that with One for All, he felt compelled and pressured to always be there fighting crime, but letting it go and seeing him as an adult, he gained some distance from that dream that I think he very much needed, because otherwise he was never going to grow. He was always going to let One for All consume him. And that was the gift that, I think Deku gave back to All Might as well. All Might is able to resume his life. He's traveling around the world as a teacher now, like giving lectures. Deku's, still based in Japan. And so when he puts on the suit and he's joining his friends again, it's more than just I get to live my dream again. It's that he's ready to have that dream because he's ready to accept all the best parts of his life. And that I think is a really beautiful message. I hesitate to say it's over, so I don't want to thank Bones for like a full adaptation just yet, because we're not quite there yet. Just a little more to go, but we're almost there. And Bones, like for the most part, have done a terrific job, especially on that schedule, even for this season. Like less episodes, yeah, but that's still a pretty tight turnaround, and they went above and beyond. I'm very happy that we got this team on it, and this is like one of a kind. And in the future, like I mean, this was I think a series for a lot of us that really connected with us. But like Seth said, there will be that specific series that's going to come around that's really going to speak to you. Maybe it's not even the one that's like the most popular, but if you find something that is a story that teaches you specific lessons or leaves an impact on you, hold on to that and let that inspire you for whatever it is, whether it's your own creative work, whether it's just life in general. Maybe it's just a little pick me up you need after a long day, that you need for, interacting with your friends and family. Everybody's different. We've all got our own individual way of dealing with things, and that's something MHA has always represented very, very well. And I hope that whether we get, even if we get no more movies or whatever, I think that impact will still remain very important and very, very evident. And yeah, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. I've had fun doing these over the years.
All right. I appreciate everybody that came through, whether it's in the chat or in this stream. Uh, I appreciate the work that Horikoshi has. Hey, little baby. And my daughter appreciates all the effort and the time that we all spend to. All right, little Gene Bean. Hi. Yeah. Thank you guys for hopping on, having this conversation. If we get an OVA or whatever announcement by the end of the year, I'm sure I'll be talking to you guys about it again. I don't know when the next manga related stream will be, because I don't know what manga I want to talk about on stream.
2026 Billboard chart or
I
2025.
do want a final stream that's like a really big one, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do Kagurabachi. I don't know. This week's Kagurabachi.
I'd need to catch up on that, but I'm also reading Yona.
But
Yeah,
Can you
well,
do me a
that's
favor, Anaki?
what's up?
Can you do me a favor, Anaki?
Sure.
Can we not discuss soccer days?
Okay.
Hell yeah. Tee.
Oh, that's fine with me. Or you know what we could do is bully Vulcan to finishing Monster Hunter, and then we'll just stream us playing that. You too, Thomas.
I finished
what's
I finished
Wait.
the first campaign. It just I rage quit after their freaking PS Plus price increases. I was just
Oh, I didn't know about any of that. Because I've been playing on PC, the one with performance issues. But yeah, I mean that could be something fun, just a Monster Hunter stream or just us hanging out or something. I don't know.
yeah.
You singing the alphabet?
I have a PC. I just don't have Monster Hunter on it.
W X Y
WX.
E. With your teriyaki face. All right. Well, hooray! Good job, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with this little one. I appreciate everybody that
That's
came through.
Hell
Guys,
yeah.
take care, and we
Talk to
will
y'all
Yeah.
see you
later.
again in theory.